Days 1 through 5 didn't whet your appetite. Welcome to Day 6. Fewer tables, fewer players, more money.
Day 6, boys. Yeah. Day 6.
Day 6. Good vibe. It's getting fun again.
You need to be in it to win it.
On day 6, man. Hopefully day 7.
Hi everyone, Lon McCarron with Norman Chad Carrascott and Joe Stapleton, the chip leader, Robin Higala. Argentinian attorney Damian Salas has over 8 million chips.
Former attorney Lon, he's cashed in 3 of the last 5 main events. When does he have time to practice law?
Here's our Day 6 leaderboard to see Higala on top with nearly 10 million. British pro Max Silver in the bronze position with 8.6 million. Antoine Saout in 8th.
Higala, 27-year-old German, has played the main event twice, finishing the top 125 twice.
By the way, the 1,084 who cashed, a bigger group than every total main event field up to 2014. Ben Lamb maybe wants to do it again.
Sometimes less is more, which when you think about it makes absolutely no sense. He just plays well.
Max Silver has chips and a useful app.
Who doesn't have an app these days? Apps are a dime a dozen.
Do you have an app?
No. So what?
Here's Kara Scott with more on Max Silver.
Max is a well-known and well-liked player from the UK, and he has some big-name pros in his corner. One of them, Chris Moorman, ranked #1 player on online poker 20 times, even had a dream that Max would final table the main event this year. Now, poker players are usually pretty logical, so it must have been vivid as Moorman asked him for a small swap in their main event. Chris will be happy he did, as Silver started today 3rd in chips, and it'll be easy to keep an eye on his friend and his investment with Max sitting at our feature table.
By the way, if Chris Moorman is having poker dreams about Max Silver making final tables, he should think about a new mattress.
Max is a 27-year-old Brit living in Ireland. Won his first bracelet just a week before the main event began with pocket eights a raise to 175. Ben Lamb trying to make a second trip to a main event final table. Pocket jacks.
Former poker dealer in Tulsa for 6 months. He's the one poker dealer you do not want in your game.
And 135,000 is a call with jacks.
No re-raise from jacks. Our work is paying off.
No, Norman, we've got to get people to fold them pre-flop. Our work is not done. The jacks are still ahead after the flop. Lamb checks the best hand. Check back. Turn card. Tray of hearts. Lamb is still ahead.
Lamb checked the flop, but now he wants to bet. What is probably the best hand?
Max Silver, one of the top players in the game, really has come on the last few years. And looks like you're right, Ben, feeling safe to make a bet here. 240,000.
Ben is engaged, but not married yet, so he can still afford to gamble. Max is married, so he has to think twice before gambling.
Don't you gamble about every time you get married?
Good for you.
Silver, feeling pretty safe about his eights, or at least he'll take another card for 240,000. 10 of spades on the end. Lamb's jacks are good.
And I'm sure Ben Lamb confident he has the best of it here.
Two highly skilled players jousting here. 550,000 from Lamb with the best hand.
Silver with a crawling call on the turn. This would be a crawling call on the river. I wonder if Ben is eyeing Max's wedding ring.
Both these players wondering if the other one is up to something nefarious, but the pressure gets to Silver, and Lamb will take it. He's over 7 million now.
Ben played those jacks better than he did on day 5 against Scott Blumstein. Remember, Blumstein bluffed him off the winner on the river.
So Silver folds his lesser pair. You got to know when to give it up to maintain your stack. Secondary table, 3 November Niners, Antoine Saout and Kenny Hallaert side by side. Ruane and Hallaert did it last year. They reintroduced themselves.
How can this be? They made the final 9 last year. Now they're around in the final 9 tables or so this year?
Ruane enjoying his table right now, and why not? Final table last year, final 100 this year.
After last year's main event final table, he traveled to Europe for 3 months with his sister, but nothing else has changed for him. He still eats a lot of chicken fingers and bologna sandwiches.
And a look at the November Niners class of 2016, the last of the November Niners.
You cannot make back-to-back main event final tables these days.
Mark Newhouse did it in 2013 and 14.
I would need to see the videotape on that.
I believe we do have some. Ruane opens the pot to 185 with ace-8 offsuit.
Look at this murderer's row of November Niners. Closest thing to this, I once saw Crosby, Stills, and Nash next to each other in the express line at Piggly Wiggly.
Saout, November Niner in 09, finished third. Came close last year, finished 25th. King 10 of hearts on the button. Antoine with the biggest stack at this table re-raises to 530. Kenny Hallaert, November Niner from last year, gives it up. So back now around to Ruane, the original raiser with ace-8 offsuit.
Now, I don't like calling here with ace-rag out of position. Either 4-bet or 4-close.
I assume you have a little more experience with the latter?
Good for you again.
All right, so Ruane now putting out a 4-bet of $1,350,000.
Yeah, for Ruane, this was a case of he knows that I know that he knows that I know, which leads to Michael's re-raise.
That's a commitment of more than a third of Michael's chips.
By the way, when Saout finished third in 2009, that was his first main event.
Is that amazing? And he does give this up. The chip leader at the table does release the hand to the pressure from Michael Ruane.
Oh, Ruane still in Hoboken? Given his fourth place finish last year, I figured he would have moved to Short Hills by this point. Nice to see him sticking it out.
Saout was born in France, now lives in London. Still has a good stack.
This kid still needs a haircut.
In a year that features the third largest starting field ever, we're seeing a lot of former final tablists run deep. Sure, we have more years behind us, but it still seems unusual. Norman, you're paid to have takes. What's your take?
My take is I don't get paid enough to figure these things out. So I can't tell you the odds of Ruane, Saout, and Hallaert sitting side by side at the same table, but I know unusual when I see unusual.
All right, so is there an advantage to being here again because they're used to it, or a disadvantage because others may remember how they play?
No one remembers anything anymore. I barely know your name. It's a clear advantage for those who have been here before. That's why I'm so good at my third marriage. I won't get to a fourth, but if I did, look out, husband of the year, without question.
It's McCarran, like the airport. Just 3 chips in play right now. The Lavenders, worth $100K, are good to have in abundance. The blinds are at 40 and 80,000 with a 10K ante. Secondary table. Saout folds under the gun. Kenny Hallaert now looks down at 2 black queens.
29 of his 32 World Series cashes have come in fields of 1,000 or larger. 11 of those cashes in fields of 6,000 or larger.
Average stack now over 4 million. Kenny raises to 175.
Fun fact about Lon, folks, he's made 9 final tables in his burgeoning poker career. On 7 of those occasions, he started at the final table.
Hey, if it worked for Doyle Brunson, it works for me. No takers on Hallaert's raise to 175 here. Day 6 of the main event. Complacency will quickly make you a statistic. Accumulate is the word of the day. Small blind gives it up, and now Ruane in the big blind with another ace, ace-10 this time.
This is Ruane's first World Series cash since last year's main event.
And Ruane will come along for 95,000 more. 1 overcard to Hallaert's queens. And there it is in the flop. Aces with a Broadway draw for Ruane. Queens with a Broadway draw for Hallaert.
This flop's got to worry both about the other.
Each holds blockers to the other's straight. Ruane checks top pair to Kenny.
Hallert's amazing. The smallest field he's ever cashed in at the World Series is 574.
It is amazing. They both check. Another ace on the turn. Trips now for Ruane.
Oh, Ruane generally scratches his nose and sniffs when he turns trips. I own him.
Yeah, you've been watching a lot of him the last couple of years. You should know. And he's going to go ahead and lead out here with trips. 200,000.
Well, Hallaert would likely still be good here if Ruane doesn't have an ace or king in his hand, but Ruane always scratches his nose and sniffs when he turns trips, so Hallaert should fold here.
Kenny with aces up. And he will make this call.
Kenny's not a believer.
880,000 in the middle now. Ruane avoids danger. His 3 aces are good.
Yeah, that's a very safe river card for Ruane's trip aces.
Ruane with 4 lavenders, 400,000.
And Kenny Hallaert in the same spot. If he was good on the turn, he's good on the river here. But sometimes you just don't feel like wading in deeper.
Hallaert began the hand with 2.7 million. Ruane with 4.1 million. And Kenny does release. Michael got 1 call to put his stack at 4.6 million.
I'll tell you this much. Neither of these guys is going back to back. Book it.
Easy game. Defend, outflop, and rake. The 2017 World Series of Poker is brought to you by PokerGO, the new destination for live poker action. Get in the game today at PokerGo.com. Back at the Rio, over 7,000 players have busted so far. We're under 100 survivors, each guaranteed 85 grand.
By the way, no women left, but then again, less than 4% of the starting field was female.
One player hoping to turn his first main event into a gold mine is that man, Altoona, Pennsylvania's Dan Ott.
Every day I've bagged at least 50% more than what I started with the day before, so that's just kind of been my goal, to try to hang around the 80 big blind mark and just keep accumulating. And you know, I guess I'm just living in the moment. It's just another poker tournament for me, and that's how I'm going to look at it.
Can't believe I'm here still after 6 days, is it? Day 6. We're all rolling into one and I'm just trying to get through on the adrenaline. Even the best poker players in the world will not win if they don't have a little bit of luck. But I guess if they were to wear a jacket and shirt like this, they'd probably win a lot more cash. Probably been the greatest week of my life when it comes down to the poker anyway. I've made some pretty awesome calls and let's hope we can get a bit further.
My name is Dan Ott. I'm from Pennsylvania. I started watching poker in 2003, and that's what got me into the game. I went to Penn State for marketing, and yeah, now I just play cards. My twin brother's actually here. He busted on day 2 though, so he wasn't as fortunate as me. He's doing really good. It's kind of surreal. Hope we can keep going. People think that we feel each other's thoughts, and that doesn't happen. But if it did, I wouldn't play at the same table with him, or maybe I would play at the same table with him. I kind of expected to not make the money, honestly, and then I started getting some chips, and then I started getting some momentum, and now I kind of feel like, I have a good shot at making a deep run.
Jack Sinclair, I'm from London. I've been playing about 4 or 5 years, but I've only been professional for about a year and a bit. Since about February, I've been spending a lot of time with Phil Gruesome and Anton Morgenstern, so they really helped my game quite a lot and made me realize how much I used to suck at poker. I'm just trying to play each hand as it comes, not trying to think too far ahead and trying very hard not to dwell on hands before. I just try and take one hand at a time.
Sir?
Interesting tidbit, Dan Ott, born on January 28th, 1992, the exact same day as his twin brother Dylan. Wow.
Our November Niners have been joined by John Hesp in the Technicolor Poker Dreamcoat. And with Ace King, he says, raise from the small blind to 200,000.
Same jacket every day, I'm okay with that. Same shirt every day, I don't know.
Ruane with Queen Deuce and the big blind gonna come along.
Battle of the blinds, Ruane will play junk, figuring he can outplay the amateur if they both miss the flop.
Well, they both hit the flop. Top pair, top kicker for Hesp. He checks. Bottom pair for Ruane.
I'm no Giorgio or Armani, but I think Ruane's t-shirt would go very well with Hesp's jacket, and Hesp's hat would go really well with Ruane's head.
Ruane.
I would expect him to bet here in position with Hesp checking.
No, he does not, though, yeah. Turn card now. A 4 makes Hesp an 8-1 favorite. He bets 250.
Hesp with the delayed continuation bet, very tricky, or just a case of jet lag. Hesp, 64 years old, owns a company that rents caravan vacation homes.
He is from Bridlington, England. I'm going to say that a lot because I love to say Bridlington.
Ruane perplexed here. Who is this technicolored man? Does he have it or does he not?
Ruane sat with the unpredictable Mickey Kraft on day 6, now wondering what is up with this ragtag getup of Hesp. And with bottom pair, Ruane comes along. River card. Well, top 2 now for Hesp.
300.
Hesp seems unorthodox, sartorially speaking, and poker action-wise speaking. He's a tough puzzle to jigsaw.
I gave you information on the last time. It may help you on this one.
Yeah.
First time we played, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember some hands you played a couple days ago, so it makes this easy fold to harder fold.
Michael clinging to very bottom pair.
It's a rare man who can make Michael laugh, though. John has done it.
I guess you pros find it difficult to figure me because I'm so unusual in most respects. With the game and everything. Sometimes I show, sometimes I don't.
Ruane gets it up.
Would you like to see?
No.
Okay. No. Only get one. You only get one chance.
I'll see it.
No, too late. No taking chances. No. People who know me, I only give one chance. Would you like to say yes? He knows.
See it in a bit.
You say yes, you'll get to see it. Yeah, you'll get to see it on TV. Well, maybe. Depends whether they consider this suitable TV viewing.
Superman always makes for good TV. That's an outer table. A player still dressed like it's day one. Joe Stapleton spoke with the Man of Steel.
I'm here with Jonathan Dweck, who wore this getup all day on day one. Now he is deep in the main. It's the return of Superman.
That's right. I've been running hot, and I'm hoping to make the final table.
And have you been using your X-ray vision?
No, that would be cheating, and Superman doesn't cheat.
Truth, justice, and the American way. Can you at least show us some of that super strength?
All right.
Check it out. There it is. Yes, well done. Why do we even have a special effects budget?
Contrary to popular belief, Dweck does not win every hand he plays. I guess he's a normal guy after all.
Come on, brother. They need me, man.
In real life, this Superman is a CFO for a tech company in Toronto.
Long Beach, I'm still here. Come on, Superman. Supposed to be a hero.
What can I do?
Trying to hurt somebody, man. What kind of hero is that?
We've seen hero calls, never from a real superhero, though. Jonathan Dweck, you're making main event history. Welcome back to the 2017 main event. Familiar lead up, familiar ending. Superman struggles, then Superman wins. Paul Sinnett out of the main event in 70th place. Paul is out, and you see the payouts right now, 6 figures.
Woo. Couple very intense hands.
He doesn't sound like Superman.
Back at our secondary feature table, a man with seemingly indestructible large field skills, Kenny Hallaert. Kenny's view on recreational players is one we wish more of the poker community would share.
I think as the professional poker players or the more experienced players, we should sometimes be more open towards recreational players. Far often I see experienced players berate players that are new to the game or not feeling them really welcome at the table, or they are sometimes a little bit antisocial, I would say. So if we want to bring new players to the game, and we need to make sure that they feel welcome at the table, that if they went playing for the first time, that I say, well, next year or next week I want to play this game again. I don't want to look for another hobby or anything. You want to feel players welcome to the game.
Well, Kenny is a tournament director, so he takes the long view, but you shouldn't have to be a tournament director to realize it's the correct view. If you want to be antisocial, then just stick to social media.
Kenny's under the gun here with about 3.7 million chips and 2 kings.
Kenny got coaching for last year's final table from Fedor Holtz, still works as a tournament director for several events.
A raise to 175. Next in line, Joseph Michael with King Jack. Texas hedge fund manager, back in the day, known online as Big Joe 2003, a very popular player. He folds, though. Patel folds to Sean Gibson. And Gibson with ace-queen, he's required to play this.
41-year-old CPA, born in Kentucky, went to college in Kentucky at Thomas More, and works in Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky.
And the Bluegrass State is very grateful, Norman. Call from Gibson for 175. Hesp gives up his button. Ruane now in the small blind. Michael peeks down at a couple of threes.
Ruane uses only one hand to peek at his cards and only one hand to hold up his head.
Do you have gray chips behind you? Do you have gray chips?
I think, oh yeah, sorry. Can you
Well, they're lavender, and they, yes, must be visible to all. Ruane calls.
Hesp trying to hide his big chips. Actually, if he just put those lavender chips in front of his jacket, they would be camouflaged.
You're right. Good point. All right, so 3 players will see the flop. Kings, trays, ace, queen. Niners are flop. And wow, good flop for ace, queen. You got to throw ace, queen a bone once in a while, Norman.
That's a lot of queens now.
Ruane checks his pocket trays. Hallaert.
He's certainly going to continue here. Doesn't want to give a flush draw, for instance, a free card.
But his pocket kings are no good. With paired boards come dark clouds. 250 from Kenny.
3 queens beats 2 kings, Lon.
It does indeed. Gibson with the second biggest stack at the table. Saout is tops here. Gibson has some of those lavender chips. Those are raising chips. He makes it 650,000.
No slow play from Gibson. A lot of players would just call in that spot.
Ruane exits.
Kenny doesn't like it, but maybe the guy's just a rabid University of Kentucky basketball fan who feels like raising with a flush draw.
Kenny Hallaert has outs, even if he thinks Gibson has 3 queens, and he does call with his dethroned kings. Turn card, 6 of clubs, keeps Gibson safe on this street.
Yeah, the 6 of clubs on the turn changes nothing. It's essentially a deuce in disguise.
Checked to Gibson.
By the way, Gibson doesn't look like a latter-day Mickey Kraft. He looks serious, and he looks like he has something.
He has the best hand here is what he's got, and more lavender chips. 4 from column A, 4 from column B, 800,000.
Well, Hallaert called Gibson's raise on the flop. Now he appears to be having second, third, and perhaps fourth thoughts about this bet on the turn.
Sean Gibson in the catbird seat against Kenny Hallaert. Kenny disgusted that he's thinking of folding these kings. And that's what he does.
He makes the right fold, 1 street later than optimal.
Kenny Hallaert now below 3 million. The Kings don't do what they're supposed to do, and his stack takes a hit here on day 6. If you are a poker player, there's no place you'd rather be right now than the Rio. Fewer than 70 players left in the main event. $8.15 million up top. In the glasses, Argentinian Damian Salas with a nice win. He climbs to $8.8 million.
The 42-year-old former attorney with his 3rd main event cash. He travels to events worldwide with a group of South American players.
He's been at or near the top of the leaderboard for some time now.
Is there a chance one of you guys would fall asleep or something like that?
And for those of you who have not checked it out yet, PokerGo is the only place you'll get more than 100 days of live poker per year and the best and original poker programming. Subscribe to PokerGo today at PokerGo.com. Back to our main feature table. They're 7-handed now for the moment. The blinds are up to 50 and 100,000 with a 15K ante. Max Silver opened the pot under the gun with pocket 6s to 225.
Silver, the creator of Snap Shove, an app that helps you with your short stack. I created Snap Bust, which helps you get knocked out quickly so you can go eat and drink.
I use it every tournament, and it works great. In the big blind, London-born Paul Vasnoon's Queen Trey.
I like the sweater.
Suited Queen calls for 125 more. 2 top stacks here at this table. Deuce, Queen, 5 a queen for Vasnoons to overtake Silver's 6s, and it's checked to Max.
But that's a good board for 6s. Max's app would tell him to bet.
I thought his app gives short stacks a shove fold range.
It's more versatile than you know.
200,000 from Silver.
The buttons on that sweater make the sweater.
And a check raise from Vasnoons to 525.
I did not expect a check raise out of that sweater. Neither did Max. I don't know if Max's app handles check raises on the flop from 27-year-old fellow Brits in sweaters.
Oh, Max bringing his set mining operations to the turn. Maybe he does make the call. And the turn card is a 6. Yikes, Max turns the set. Nice call of the check raise. Vasnoons now checks again.
How would he know to check here? Vasnoons to control the pot with his check raise. He turns a gut shot to go with top pair, and he checks.
What would Max's app tell Max to do here?
First of all, Max's app doesn't handle situations on the turn, you dolt. And secondly, a third grader wearing a dunce cap knows you would bet a set in this spot.
So Max now says, okay, fellow countrymen, here's 650,000. Check raise this.
Yeah, well, maybe he's setting Max up for the unconscionable double-barrel check raise. Blackjack Pershing made that famous in World War I.
Did it work?
I only go back to World War II.
Oh, okay. Vasnoons just calls this time. Max in control, almost 3 million in the middle. King of clubs, a third club out there. So silver's hand is best.
That is a decent bluff card. Vasnoons might have check raised the flop on a draw, then quieted down when a blank hit the turn.
But Paul just checks.
Well, Max should snap shove here. It's good marketing for his app.
No snap. Doesn't look like it's a shove. Feeling very confident in his hand here. Max bets $1,275,000.
Vasnoons should check raise snap shove here. It would be too cool for school.
All Vasnoons now cutting out chips.
I'll pay you. Cool.
Max is going to get paid. His stack will be over 10 million after that hand.
Yeah, I'm beat.
That's a hand.
Vasnoons could have used the app.
What was it?
2 more purples.
Oh.
Max Silver building a stack here on day 6 of the main event.
Thank you.
Over 100 big blinds.
Well, Max didn't need his app to tell him that that turn card was a welcome set. He's among the chip leaders here late in the 2017 main event.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Everywhere you look, there are talented poker players. Our secondary feature table is a table of doom, but John Hesp hasn't had any trouble collecting chips there.
The 64-year-old has turned a bucket list item into the best week of his poker life.
And a lot of people are smiling along with him. I'm Lon McCarron with Norman Chad, Kara Scott, and Joe Stapleton bringing you this very critical day 6. At our feature table sits Ben Lamb. In a few months, he'll be pairing up away from the felt.
Obviously, winning the World Series of Poker Main Event any year would be fantastic, but this year would be real special. I'm getting married September 30th to a girl I've been dating for a few years, Rachel. We're getting married here in Vegas, and this would definitely help with the wedding budget. It'd pay for the wedding a bunch of times over, and you know, it'd be a really nice way to go into a new marriage and kind of a new family.
They have invited so many people from the poker community, I believe they're going to have to hold the wedding in the Amazon room.
A whole new Lambo leap ahead for Ben. Max Silver, who got married in 2014 and lived to tell the tale, opened for 225 with ace-6 suited on the button.
I'm rooting for Ben here. The first wedding always costs the most.
Silver way ahead of Ben in that regard because he's already married with a baby on the way. Lamb with a re-raise to 715. Now Benjamin Polak, Frenchman, folds 4 deuce suited. So back to Max. Silver makes the call for 490 more with a weak suited ace. All right, heads up. 9 king ace. Silver was ahead, now way ahead. Lamb with a Broadway draw.
Ben claims he's doing about 10% of the work planning the wedding. I believe he meant to say 1/10 of 1% of the work.
He took control of the action pre-flop. He does not love the ace. He does not love the king out there. Poker rules say, I got to continue here. 525.
Well, a big ace is in Ben's range. Pocket kings is in his range. A lavish wedding is in his range. But it's the same old thing with a weak ace. You flop an ace, and you just don't know where you're at.
And that's where Max Silver finds himself right now. He does have backdoor spades, and pros love backdoor opportunities in a poker game, and he does call. Turn card now. Ka-ching! Lamb turns the tables and hits his straight.
Well, that card's convenient.
Oh, my.
It's good to be Ben Lamb.
And Ben Lamb now, this is not just a hollow continuation bet. This is an effort to get more chips from Max Silver. That's $1,075,000.
Max is happily married now, but after he proposed to his wife Lisa, he went into the biggest poker downswing of his life, but he righted the ship. It's good to be Max Silver too, except not here.
Right?
1 hour, 9 minutes, and 45 seconds.
Boy, it looks like he's tired of sitting here with Ben Lamb, and he folds top pair on that nasty board. And Ben Lamb will stack some newcomers. He's approaching 8 million. Look out for Bemba main event.
Every time Ben wins a pot, I think that wedding reception gets a little more sumptuous.
Well, at our secondary feature table is that man, John Hesp. More than double the age of Lamb and Silver, but only a fraction of the poker experience.
Earlier this year, he asked his wife, Mandy, if she minded if he went to the main event. She said, go for it. Hesp says, quote, I am to the poker world what Donald Trump is to politics, an amateur, end quote.
Hesp and fellow poker senior citizen Kevin Song have entered the pot here. 59-year-old Song raised with deuces. Hesp called with fours. Now Neil Patel, a mere 33-year-old with a suited king in the big blind, comes along.
Kevin Song, 20th at the 01 main event, 42nd in 03.
He's one tough player.
Song and Hesp with contrasting jacket choices.
Queen, 4-10. John Hesp hits pay dirt with a set. Patel open-ended, he checks. Song with a less than symbol, he checks. 300 from John.
Somehow when Hesp bets 3 chips, he always splashes them.
Now Patel, open-ended straight draw, he comes along. Song, one last look at his deuces before they go in the muck. We're heads up. Turn card. 5 of clubs. No help to Patel. He has the action. He checks again. $500,000, a third of the pot.
Even when he tries to put chips back on his stack, he splashes the pot. Patel, 33-year-old Chicago options trader, University of Michigan grad. Otherwise, why would you have a Michigan card protector?
Patel splashing chips. Yep, they're both clubs.
You want to see?
Yep. Hesp loves showing his hands.
Oh my God. Well,
sir, remember?
I'm very glad you picked that hand up. This hand, not the last.
Can I get a rabbit cam on the river?
No. Are you looking for spade?
Sorry.
I had to open on you.
Yeah, well, I think you probably have a good call there because my luck's running at the moment. I don't think it's
Standard result for this main event. John Hesp winning a pot, bringing him closer to that bracelet. Poker is all about the money, but the bracelet here at the main event is a big consideration. It's a one-of-a-kind item. As a reminder, for unlimited access to more of the best in live poker all year long, get in the game with PokerGO. Returning to our secondary featured table with 3 past November Niners at this table.
Value bet of the year.
Raise.
We have a raise?
250.
John Hesp keeps picking up hands.
John Hesp and his kaleidoscope ensemble makes it 250,000 with pocket eights. Kenny Hallaert with ace-6 of hearts on the button.
Kenny was devastated by his last hand at last year's main event final table, but then a trip to Prague and a working vacation at the Aussie Millions got his poker motivation back.
He is the short stack of our 3 November Niners here. Only Kevin Song with a shorter stack at this table. Does he have raising thoughts here? Maybe, but he just calls.
By the way, we haven't even seen the flop yet, but it's very likely Hesp already has flopped a set.
You're right about that. Small blind folds. Patel in the big blind. What are you thinking about, Neil? He gives it up.
Heads up, Sean. First time we've played.
All right, we have heads up action.
Kenny with another deep run on a large field. Here is the flop. Ace, queen, 8. You're right, Norman. Bottom set for Hesp. Top pair for Hallaert. A check now to Kenny.
Hesp has not gotten to the continuation bet chapter yet of the poker training manual he doesn't own.
Kenny would have preferred a different color flop, and now a king on the turn. Kenny drawing dead. He would have needed runner. Hesp now with 300,000.
Yeah, John's got a different system. Hesp could really screw with the world oil futures market if he played the London Stock Exchange. and we saw Michael Ruane confused by Hesp earlier, and here his fellow November Niner from 2016 also confused by him.
That call leaves Kenny with $1,700,000 behind.
Sorry? You must have some of that then, Sean.
River card. Oh, wow, the worst card in the deck. Another ace for Kenny. Hesp checks his full house now.
John Hesp is a confounding, perplexing force. And if you're Kenny Hallaert, how do you not bet for value here?
This is like a slow motion main event disaster movie for Kenny. $600,000.
Hallert's not going to get good value from that bet.
Now to Hesp with the full house.
I'm all in.
Oh, my.
Yeah, for Hallaert, a dream river turns into a bad dream.
His main event coming down to this decision.
Yeah, the question is, would an amateur check raise the river for $1 million more? The problem is, if Kenny folds, he's down to 11 big blinds. And of course, if he calls, he is gone.
Nobody likes being put to the test for all their chips at the main event, no matter their holdings. Ask Vanessa Selbst. Ask Kenny Hallaert.
You look confident, sir.
I'm having fun. I look confident with nothing, but I'm having fun. Are you having fun?
Definitely.
Not at the moment, baby. You're under so much pressure.
A little bit.
I must admit, I'd not like to be in your position, but I could call it off and go home.
I can call it off and go home as well, then.
Well, listen, Sean, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide whether you want to call it or.
When an amateur talks this comfortably, he's usually strong.
Don't think I can fold.
Heard something similar from Vanessa Selbst on day one.
Hallert's bid for back-to-back main event final tables rests on this decision.
I don't think I can fold, sir. A very good hand. Maybe we chop it some thoughts. Oh.
That's a call.
Full house. 8 over.
And with that, Kenny Hallaert's main event run comes to an end, and his bid for back-to-back final tables ends on day 6.
And another tough second-guess yourself for a while. Last hand of the main event for the tournament director. But Kenny Hallaert puts his stamp on another main event.
A class act, Kenny Hallaert, despite that calamitous run out, steals himself, makes his rounds at the table on his way out. So Kenny's bid for back-to-back final tables ends at the hands of John Hesp. Kenny is with Kara Scott right now.
It was incredible watching you make this deep run, especially after seeing you at the final table last year. What has it felt like for you to be back in this situation?
It felt great. I had a lot of confidence today, coming in with an average stack in 2 days 6. Having had the experience from previous years obviously also helps. I felt good, but I realized that it was still a long shot. We started the day with over 80 players left, so it's only 1 in 9 more or less that make the final table. So I wasn't setting my hopes that high, but I had a good feeling about it. I mean, I thought again that nice things could be possible, but unfortunately it ran out some different. But finishing in 64th place again in a main event out of the field of over 7,200 players, of course, is a result I'm very happy with.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hallert's third straight deep main event run ends courtesy of the Technicolor Man.
John Hesp's magical main event mystery tour rolling on, set after set after set. Day 6 claims one past November Niner and Kenny Hallaert. Another Ben Lamb on the uptick with over $9 million now. Lamb with Queen Jack suited. Just saw Reed Dusty Hensel shove the 6-high board with a 9-high flush draw. Hensel's small end is for $255. Dan Ott with pocket tens has already called. And now Ben Lamb raises to $715,000.
That's an amazing play from Lamb in an attempt to isolate Hensel.
Queen high for Lamb, trying to push Ott off his tens.
Hensel, 32-year-old Kansas City, Kansas consultant with 11 World Series cashes.
Yeah, Hensel, a very strong player. Ott, 25-year-old Pennsylvanian poker pro. He leads the entire field and folds, so Lamb has Hensel all to himself with a bunch of danger cards to dodge.
Well, Hensel loves to see this. He's a 61% favorite with 9 high, and Lamb, lucky Ott folds a big hand, and lucky Hensel's got nothing.
An 8 on the turn is not a card Hensel can use.
Ben won't be able to make this play after he's married. By the way, Hensel is also engaged, but he's not Ben Lamb.
The river card for Hensel's tournament is another blank, and with Queen high, Ben Lamb swoops in for the knockout of Dusty Hensel.
What a weird hand. What a play by Ben Lamb.
It was indeed. Hensel cashed in the 09 main event.
Huh? I think he might have been.
Ben is 32 years old, but trust me, when he gets married, he'll feel 42.
Lamb over 10 million, but still far behind Dan Ott. All right, jumping next door to our secondary table, minus Kenny Hallaert. Joseph Michael in the small blind on the left with pocket nines. Kevin Song raised with pocket fives from early position. Both of these players with below average stacks, but Joseph with the bigger of the two.
Michael, the hedge fund manager from Texas, he's also engaged. Pretty good year here for fiancés.
Isn't it, though? There's a 3-bet to 955 with his bigger pocket pair. And the big blind, Neil Patel, Jack 10 of diamonds.
Patel wants to play Jack 10 suited, but it's been 3-bet, and he's married.
He gives it up. Now back to Kevin Song. The short stack at the table. All in and a call. Michael looking for his nines to hold up against Kevin Song and his at-risk pocket fives.
Song short stacked and married. That's a lot of burden to bear.
Are you ready for me? At 10 Jack of diamonds.
Song at risk, pocket fives against the nines.
Come on!
Oh my! Michael flops quads. Song a full house and drawing dead.
It's rare that you flop a full house and start walking to the parking lot.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and the run out, at least Kevin didn't hit quad fives. What a hand. Kevin Song out in 59th, the payout over 121 grand.
Stealing quads. Good Lord.
Joseph Michael with a highlight reel knockout. 58 players remain. First-timer Dan Ott leads the way with 17 million. Lamb and Silver both in the top 10.
It would not be shocking if Lamb and Silver see each other at the final table here.
Hello, everyone. Day 6 of the main event continues. Lon McCarron on hand with Norman Chad, Kara Scott, and Joe Stapleton as we make our way to the final table. Poker pro Connor Drynan will not make the final table. He's off to a high roller somewhere now.
He was a kid with a dream.
So Drynan has 0 chips, but our current chip leader is Dan Ott. He just called the all-in of former chip leader Artem Dedusha, who shoved with ace-jack before Ott called with 2 nines.
25-year-old American, Dedusha, 34-year-old Brit.
No ace, no jack.
Not even a heart.
Now the hearts are bad for Dedusha. Ott with a flush draw. The 10 gives Dedusha a Broadway draw. He needs it now or he's done. The river card, an 8. Pocket 9 stand-up. Artem Dedusha becomes a day 6 statistic.
Misclicking and...
Chip leader getting stronger. And for Dedusha, his 52nd place finish, his finest live cash anywhere. So Dan Ott with almost 21 million, a massive advantage over second place Ryan Horton. Ben Lamb and Max Silver are dangerous players with stacks to match.
Dan Ott, Altoona, Pennsylvania, first timer at the main event. Take those 20 million chips and sit by the pool for a couple of days and you will make the final table.
Poker is in very good shape right now, the 3rd largest field ever.
There were 839 entrants the year Chris Moneymaker won in 03. This year we had 922 entrants from California alone. Yes, poker is very much alive.
Our featured table, an impressive one. 2016 November Niner Michael Ruane once again has chips late in the main event.
Is it possible he brought chips from last year's main event to this year's main event? How does he have chips again?
It is amazing. Ben Lamb made the final table back in 2011. Here he is.
If you Google Poker Pro in a bright red shirt, you will see Ben Lamb, and he always has chips.
How about Antoine Saout? He made the main event Vegas and main event Europe final tables the same year.
Backward baseball cap, strike 1. Shades, strike 2. 1 earbud, strike 3.
John Hesp is the talk of the town.
What is wrong with this picture? 3 November Niners and the Technicolor man, but this 64-year-old has been a breath of fresh air.
John Hesp, are you aware that if you win the World Series of Poker main event, you will be the oldest person to do so since Johnny Moss?
Do I look that old?
You don't look that old. It's just, this is math.
Listen, I don't have that much grey hair, do I really? Seriously, no, I didn't know that. No, I had no idea. I'm just here for the challenge and the fun, and I'm just having a ball. So I really didn't know that at all, Joe.
Well, we love that you're having a ball, and also you're a grandfather of 7?
Yes, 7 children.
Okay, name them.
Jack, Liam, Alex, Lily, Jacob, Emma, and Joshua.
Did he get it? Oh, no, it turns out Joshua's actually Joseph. We're really sorry.
Oh, no, that's definitely not right. Even a guy of my age could remember my grandchildren's.
Best of luck, John. Get back in there.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, wait a minute. Don't forget.
John, back in the trenches of our featured table, he and Neil Patel saw a flop of Jack 8. Patel leads with 4s.
Patel, 33-year-old Chicago options trader. Frankly, I wish he'd take off the Yankees cap.
Just check my hand again.
And Hesp checking his hand of ace 10 on the button.
$800,000.
He will bet 800,000.
I don't know what he saw when he checked his hand again. I guess he saw opportunity.
Yeah, no pair, and that bet is worth over half the pot.
Oh, Patel is checking his hand. He might find a fold in there.
Do you want to see?
I would love to see. 10th?
Ice.
Nice.
I love it.
Ruane says, love it, which is code for get me those chips.
John with over 9.5 million now.
This is a sight to behold.
Norman, let's talk about John Hesp. He plays without convention, so difficult to predict, and his fashion sense, well, I don't think either of us is in a position to go into depth on that, but what exactly is it about the guy that people love? It's just not the jacket, right?
He is every man. He is every bloke. He is everything we love about the main event, walking straight out of his East Yorkshire kitchen table game to the bright lights of the World Championship. Frankly, I'm not even sure he has a kitchen.
Okay, so you did the Neil Blumenfield hat and scarf thing a few years ago. Consider now, if Hesp makes the final table, what are your plans?
I will wear the jacket. I will wear the hat. I might even speak with a British accent for the next year. Most importantly, I will rejoice because John Hesp making the final table would be exactly the kind of moment that raises poker up and warms the cockles of my heart.
Do you have a heart? Back to Hesp, post-flop. He's got bottom pair and an open-ender battling Sean Gibson with a better open-ender and 2 overcards. He has checked.
600,000.
You heard the man.
600,000.
Gibson, 41-year-old CPA from Villa Hills, Kentucky. Gibson with an inferior hand and inferior hat.
Hesp bets about 2/3 of the pot, and Gibson will come along with a draw and 2 overs. Turn card, a deuce, the blank of blanks. That's good news for John Hesp. Gibson checks again.
600,000.
Same bet.
Mark Twain once said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. I believe John Hesp applies that to his bet sizing. And remember, according to Kevin Clunder, the same bet size on the flop and the turn is a sign of weakness. But also remember, Clunder is just an associate producer on this show and barely that.
He's still on staff.
Barely.
Okay, another call from Gibson. And another jack, another club. Hesp is best with 2 pair. Gibson left holding the ace-queen bag. And he checks again.
Just have a look again and see if they changed. $1 million.
1 million.
Who doesn't love saying 1 million?
I think it did change when he checked. I'm not sure why Hesp is betting the river, but he's there and we're here, so you go, baby.
Gibson folds and may get the question.
Oh, show a bluff. Show a bluff.
You want to see?
I want to see a bluff is what I want to
You want to see? Pair of 9s.
I guess he thought he was bluffing.
John might be the best thing to happen to poker in like a decade.
I think you're my favorite person in the world.
You are. You are incredible, John.
Come on.
I think so.
I'm having fun.
I know, that's what makes it so good.
We could have a second poker boom if John wins it.
The 2017 World Series of Poker is brought to you by PokerGO, the new destination for live poker action. Get in the game today at PokerGo.com. Welcome back to Las Vegas. It's the John Hesp Show, and we're all witnesses. A look at a seated Superman, Jonathan Dweck. Earlier, Joe Stapleton caught up with the last costume player in the field.
Superman, I realized that this thing could potentially be super smelly. How long has it been since you've washed it?
I haven't washed it yet. I think it would be bad luck to wash it.
Okay, is it bad luck to make it potentially smell a little bit better?
Oh, we could do that.
Okay, we're going to do you and everyone at your table a solid right now. Faster than a speeding shower head. Able to leap tall baths in a single bound. Oop, didn't need to get him in the face. This one's out, one more. Truth, justice, and the body odor way. All right, get back out there.
All right, thanks.
Superman Dweck on the cutoff with pocket 8s, 2 others already in. Valentin Messina opened under the gun with a 6 of hearts. Dario Sammartino just called with pocket 10s.
By the way, if you have a Superman cape on, you'd better have a Superman stack in front of you, or it's embarrassing.
Right? All right, so that is Eustace Vaichalonis in the big blind. He comes along with 6-4. 4 players. Dweck actually from Toronto, as you mentioned. Truth, Justice, and the Great White North American Way. 8-5 deuce. Super top set for Dweck. Vaichalonis double-gutted checks. Messina can't win the hand outright.
Vaichalonis has a degree in econometrics. Big deal. Messina likes to CrossFit. Big deal. He's Superman.
Messina has the action. And he finally checks, so Sammartino
is a big deal on the felt, but here he's behind.
$2.6 million in World Series winnings. Coming up way short here, but he does bet $390.
Unfortunately, Superman does not realize he is wearing his hand on his body armor.
Now Dweck with the set. Just calls.
Vaichalonis also owns fitness clubs. Big deal. I drive by fitness clubs every day.
Vaichalonis with the double gutter here. Giving this some thought.
Superman should never have head in hand.
It looks weak. You're right. Vachalonis with some lavenders. That's a check raise to $1,350,000 with the double gutter.
San Martino might not like this much anymore.
Messina folded quickly. San Martino rids himself of the tens. Dweck now with the set.
Dweck looks like Superman, but Vachalonis does not look like Lex Luthor.
And the set repops Vachalonis all in. Vachalonis started with just half the stack as Dweck.
One of Dweck's brothers actually played the main event a few years ago dressed as Batman.
Vachalonis does fold.
Is that Superman's twin to his left?
Maybe so. And I hate it when my pecs get in the way of stacking chips. But with over 13 million of them, a marvelous problem to have for Jonathan Dweck.
Well, I saw Superman getting a massage last night with his superpowers. Why would he need a massage? It shattered me, Lon.
All right, let's get back to the featured table with 3 November Niners of main events past and the pride of Napoleon Casino and Restaurant in Hull, England, John Hesp. Hesp, perhaps the most unique character we have seen at the main event. And we just saw Superman, and perhaps in the last few years, his previous biggest tournament cash was $1,000.
He left school at age 15 and says he went to the University of Life. Hesp is semi-retired. He owns a company that rents caravan vacation homes.
Hesp and Neil Patel back at it post-flop, each with Jack 9 and gut shots, but Patel free-rolling with the straight flush draw.
Hesp's first job was as an auto mechanic. Dressed like this, how long was he going to last as an auto mechanic?
400,000.
400,000.
Patel graduated from the University of Michigan, but he seems like a nice guy.
Now you've got to figure out, am I bluffing or aren't I?
I think he is bluffing.
Would I bluff?
Patel. Those are raising chips. $1,450,000.
No, I didn't expect that one. That was a bit of a shock.
Well, Patel's got a better bluffing hand, much better.
Big call, this one. My belly wants to call me, but my head doesn't, so I'm not sure whether to go with my head or my belly at the moment.
I always go with my belly.
I know you always fill your belly.
I think I better go with my head for once.
And he folds.
The options trader made the right play there.
And indeed, Neil Patel coming up with some much-needed chips here on day 6 of the main event, and he goes right through the table chip leader, John Hesp. Patel up to almost $5.7 million. John didn't win the hand, but it could have been a lot worse. He still has more chips than Ben Lamb, though.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
World champion. There aren't too many of them in the poker world, but someone in the Brasilia room will soon become the next one. Just 50 players in contention. Ben Lamb has the poker chops to win this tournament, given his skill and his experience.
2011 was a very good year for me, and I went into that tournament with a lot of confidence.
Whoa!
I got him dominated. That year was kind of like, I was like destined to make the final table. Just every day I ran good, had a bunch of chips.
It's good to be Ben Lamb.
Yeah! And this year it's been a different experience. Every year people are getting better. In 2011 we were saying, oh, I wish I could go back to 2008 because people really sucked then, you know. The truth is in 2011, yes, the people weren't as good as they are now, but I've improved and everyone else has improved as well. If I'm playing a big cash game and I play a $500,000 pot, heart beats a little faster and whatever, and I'm getting excited, you know, as the cards come out. But if I play like a 3 or 4 million chip pot in this tournament, I'm like, let's go! I gotta win this, I gotta win this. And it's a very intense feeling to be all in this tournament, deep in it. I'm all in. You play 7 days, and you have all your emotions surrounding your chips, and if you lose them, it's just a heartbreak.
So many of Lamb's chips just went away.
In 2011, Ben won a bracelet in the 10K PLO, was second in the 3K PLO, 8th in the 50K Poker Players Championship, and 3rd in the main event. He's trying to join Bobby Baldwin as the only other Tulsa, Oklahoma-born main event champion.
Given his tournament schedule or lack thereof, 15 cashes is not bad. Ben on the button with King-Queen facing an early raise from circuit ring owner Mike Linster from Island Park, New York. You may fly over his house when you land at JFK. Mike with tens.
Linster, 40-year-old electrician turned poker player.
Lamb. 255 is the call. John Hesp now in the small blind. Not this time. Ruane with ace deuce in the big blind.
Don't know if he's thinking about the dangers of a weak ace or thinking about the delights of a roast beef mozzarella and gravy from Fiore's Deli in Hoboken.
4th place finisher in the main event last year. And he will come along with the weakest of aces, 3 to the flop.
I'm surprised to see Michael call here, even with pot odds, which I'm just beginning to understand, seems just too speculative. And I am quite speculative.
Here's the flop, 7, king, 6. Top pair for Lamb. Ruane misses and checks. Linster now with the tens, which come up way short. He checks.
Don't know if Ben's thinking about the fact he should bet here with top pair or the fact that he has less than 100 days left as a free and single man.
Lamb with the best of it. 2 other players in the pot, so he will put chips in, apparently. Yes, 330,000. So that gets rid of Ruane.
Don't know if Linster's thinking about the chances his pocket tens are still good here, or the chances he can pick up some electrical contracting work from the Rio after he is busted.
Always have the network. Linster comes along with his tens.
Yeah, you just can't back down because an overcard to your pair comes.
Another king for Ben Lamb, and that could be bad news for Linster on a couple of levels. Linster checks again with his tens.
I'm not sure who first said it, but it's good to be Ben Lamb.
Actually, you're quoting yourself.
Genius, pure genius.
Lamb with trips now, 600,000.
The king is a good card for both, seemingly. Good for Lamb, obviously. For Linster, it makes it less likely Ben has a king.
Indeed. And so with the tens, Linster comes along. And now another 7 brings kings full to Lamb. Linster checks a 3rd time.
Don't know if he's thinking it's good to be Ben Lamb or if he's thinking it's damn good to be Ben Lamb.
Lamb starting the hand with 10.6 million. Linster with only 3.7 million. So it's getting quite expensive for Linster to stick around, and now Lamb with $1,350,000.
Lamb bets almost half the pot. Linster here getting 3-1 on a call.
Well, Linster may be thinking, does Ben have an ace, and hopes to chop with 2 pair on the board? A call! And Lamb shows him the goods.
Wow, nice hand. Thanks.
I don't want to say it, Lon, but
it's good to be Ben Lamb. We all know. Boy, costly pot for Linster. He's down to 1.1 million, while Ben Lamb pumps his stack up to 13.6 million.
Most of the time, Ben is playing a big cash mix game over at Aria. He transitions quite well to a big tournament game.
By the way, his last World Series cash before this year was his 2011 main event final table. All right, let's turn it around. Go into the Brasilia room outer tables. Chip leader Dan Ott with pocket tens are best after the turn as he tangles with British pro Jack Sinclair, who just picked up a flush draw.
Let's see if Ott can fare better with pocket tens than Mike Linster.
Ott up to 24 million now.
These are 2 poker pros, 2 first-timers at the main event. Sinclair, 26-year-old from London. Also his first time in Las Vegas. He used to work in a recording studio to pay for poker. Now poker pays for his music.
And he's going to bet 2.5 million. Fun fact about Sinclair, his dad is the famous music critic David Sinclair, who wrote for the Times in London forever. And Ott will give it up.
You know, maybe pocket tens are the new pocket jacks.
Right? Sinclair now with almost 19 million chips. And he is climbing up the leaderboard here on day 6. For those of you who haven't checked it out yet, PokerGo's the only place you'll get more than 100 days of live poker per year and the best and original poker programming. Subscribe to PokerGo today at PokerGo.com. Back to Superman's table, where everyone looks to be hiding their identities like super villains. In the white, supposedly Pedro Oliveira with a gut shot and 2-pair. Supposedly Valentin Messina with a better 2-pair.
Messina, French-born pro, living in Malta. And you're right, Lon. It seems like either everyone's covering their face with their hoodies or chewing on their hoodies this year.
Messina with kings up. $1,750,000.
Why isn't everyone just playing a bubble and wrap their heads in duct tape? Oliveira, Portuguese pro, just moved to Brazil, got into poker after watching Robert Varconi win the O2 main event on ESPN. You broadcast that one, right, Lon?
Ah, indeed I did. With my good friend Gabe Kaplan.
That's my good friend Gabe Kaplan.
And there's a call from Oliveira. Got a nice pot brewing out there. One card to come. All right, the river card. And wow, that's bingo for Oliveira, hitting his straight. He paid $3.5 million to get there.
Oh, wow, he's got some type of Velcro hoodie that sticks to his chin.
It does bring a third spade. Oliveira puts out $2.5 million.
That's just 1/3 of the pot, and Messina can't like it.
Look at 9.
Messina's got pocket kings, but he can only beat a bluff now. Straight got there, spades got there. It's a paired board.
Ace queen spade.
You get all my hands. The first one and the second one.
Messina folds.
You think I have? Or I have?
Oh, Superman just came back. He was looking for a phone booth.
So you think I have what?
Check all, right?
Check all, lead. I would bet 15K. With you that you don't know my hand. 15K. That's how strong I am.
And he's playing at 15.
15. If you want.
Sometimes it's not enough to win the hand, have to try to earn a little extra on the side afterwards. Such is the life of a poker player. Back at the Rio for more of the 2017 World Series of Poker Main Event. Time can be your friend or your enemy in this game, but no matter what camp you're in, it's very clearly crunch time on day 6. 48 remain to an outer table to see Frenchman Benjamin Polak again, friend of Antoine Saout, who's still in. Polak with ace-10, not happy. He's dominated after calling the shove of Jay Huang. Huang still ahead.
Huang, 29-year-old LA pro.
Huang still good. Nobody has a diamond. One clean river card away from a double up. But Polak pairs his kicker. No chop, no double up. Huang is gone.
3 outer. Busts Huang.
Polak picks up 2 million new chips. And Huang will pick up a paycheck at the cage.
Polak started day 5 with 10 big blinds. He was 291st out of 297 players. Look at him now.
All right, we go back to the bright lights and bright threads of the pride of Bridlington, John Hesp.
Raise it.
Raise it.
6 hats at this table, 5 baseball caps, and Hesp's beauty.
Raised to 350 with a weak ace. He's given up a few quid and sits with 8.6 million now. Patel will not play with him. And the big blind, Sean Gibson, 7-6 of clubs.
Little known fact, Wild Bill Hickok had 7-6 of clubs. The hand before he was shot dead playing ace-8.
He was playing 5-card draw, not hold'em.
You weren't there.
All right, well, he's going to come along with his suited connectors. Now that's a suited connector. Well, Gibson now open-ended. Hesp with a gut shot that's no good, but he does lead with fives.
Check.
Need to look again.
Things are going so good for Hesp. Maybe his cards turned into ace 3 of spades.
500.
Yeah, top pair is a 5, but he's got top kicker. $500,000 now.
Gibson does not need to look again. He does not have a spade. He does not have a pair, but he's got an open-ender and 2 overcards.
And he calls the $500,000 with the mini frisbee. King of diamonds is not for the win. Hesp and his 2 5s are still good here.
If Gibson fires out here, that might change the game a bit.
No, he checks.
I check.
We'll see a free river card. 9 of hearts. Gibson misses everything.
But Gibson might be contemplating some river skullduggery here.
Yeah, he's going to have to go on the offensive to win this pot. And that's $800,000.
Against a pro, I think it's a bad bet. Against a fellow amateur, it might be a good bet.
$800,000 into $1.9 million.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a 9. Maybe a small over pair. This queen.
The bet doesn't seem to make much sense based on previous action.
2 of the bigger stacks at the table.
Do you want to call?
I want you to go back to the small British village you came from.
Yes or no? Give me a clue. Give me. I've got some of that. I'm not sure whether you have, that's the thing. $800,000.
Gibson does not like the sound of Hesp handling his chips.
I call.
And he wins.
6, 7. Wow. Pair of 5s. Yes.
That's a nice call.
John Hesp does it again.
He might be the best.
Tough call.
Ben Lamb should take him to his big game.
That might have been better than your call yesterday.
Antes, please.
Tough call, that
What are
one.
you going to do tomorrow?
Tough call.
Ben, the call yesterday was incredible. 4th pair, he calls off a 600 period raise on the river with 4th pair. And the guy shows pocket 5s. And he had a pair of 8s, king 8.
That day 5 hand was a game changer for John Hesp. Here's how it played out.
Wow. It's putting me close to being all in, is this one? I'm finished if I call and you've got a better hand. I call. Yes! You were a professional. Nice hand. Well, it was a call. It was the biggest call of my life.
Maybe he's a grift artist. It's a whole hat and jacket scam disguising the fact that he's Stu Unger's English half-step brother.
Folded to Michael Ruane, ace-jack offsuit.
At last year's main event, Ruane said he took it one hand at a time. He should be a football coach.
A raise to $300,000.
Saout should be a tennis coach.
And he will give it up.
Patel should be a third base coach.
On the button he folds.
Gibson should be a helicopter coach.
He gets out of the way to Andrew Ostapchenko in the big blind.
Who is this guy?
Andrew Ostapchenko, 27-year-old poker pro from Carlsbad, California.
His bio says he has an arts degree from Harvard. How did he end up here?
Well, maybe he came for Penn and Teller and stuck around for the main event. Ace Queen. And he just calls with a dominating hand.
Harvard against Hoboken. Only in America.
All right, here's a flop. Trey 10-6. Wow, that flop avoids both hands like Daniel Negreanu avoids a 28-ounce bone-in ribeye. Ostapchenko checks. And now $300,000 from Ruane.
I mean, the kid went to college to become a neurosurgeon. Now he's playing Ace Queen. Who's on the faculty there these days at Harvard? Eskimo Clark?
And there's a call from Ostapchenko. He wants to be a filmmaker now, too. 8 of hearts helps only Ostapchenko stay ahead with the queen kicker. He checks again.
Remember, the Harvard kid called out of the big blind, so it's more likely this type of board hit him, not Ruane.
Those lavenders are worth $100,000 each. There's 9.
A nice play by Ruane. Can Ostapchenko get a tuition refund? Harvard.
Aggression wins the battle with little to back it up. Ruane now over $5 million. He was the chip leader midway through day 6 last year on his way to the final table, still with a real shot to go back-to-back. There are no good main event beats for the thousands eliminated each year. Some sting more than others, but each is wrapped in a story to be told for years to come. I'm Lon McCarron, back inside the Brasilia room. He's Norman Chad.
The worst beat we get every year, Lon, is when Antonio Esfandiari joins us in the booth, and we don't even get a shred of kale when he has his artisan organic farm fresh meals hand-delivered to him.
Apart from John Hesp and Mickey Kraft, the story is Michael Ruane, Ben Lamb, and Antoine Saout, all previous final tablists, all bidding to do it again.
And in Ruane's case, he is trying to go back-to-back at main event final tables. Cannot be done.
It has been done.
Tell it to somebody who cares.
Mike Linster, king 6 of diamonds, early position, short stacked. All in for 855.
Linster with just 7 big blinds left. He won a World Series circuit ring in 2011 at Harrah's Atlantic City.
His shove gets by Patel. Now Sean Gibson, ace-10 of clubs.
That looks pretty callable.
Let's count.
55.
It would be for about 12 or 13% of Gibson's stack. Of course, he's got 3 players to act behind him.
Yep, suited ace makes the call. On the button is the Harvard guy. Lamb now folds. Hesp gets out of the way, so Linster gets it in bad for his tournament life. He had little choice with a tiny chip stack, though.
This all-in reminds me of most Jets-Bills games. Not a lot of action.
Live.
Yep, 2 live cards.
Good luck, man. Thanks.
Mike Linster at risk. Jack 4 deuce, no help there for Linster.
When the Jets and Bills play, nobody can score a touchdown here. Nobody can make a hand.
Linster still looking for help. Turn card now. Oh, Gibson with a Broadway draw, stealing some outs.
It's not a good card. Got 3 outs. Six of hearts works.
Any 6 for Linster, or he is wamboozled.
The river card is a king. Gibson straightens out and knocks off Mike Linster.
Linster's second main event cash in 3 years. Well done.
Yeah, he's a very good player, securing his best ever World Series score for 47th place. Linster winning almost $146,000. Nice run from Mike. Congratulations. The Kentucky native Sean Gibson collects the knockout and moves just a few chips away from $8 million.
Thomas More College. What's that, a poor man's Harvard? I don't like the sound of it.
So Gibson stacking new chips brings him just above the chip average. As a reminder, for unlimited access to more of the best in live poker all year long, get in the game with PokerGO. Out in the field, that's amateur Frank Crivello agonizing with top pair, top kicker after being raised on the turn by Josh Marvin, a pro from Michigan with aces up.
Crivello, 35-year-old from San Diego. These are the spots that take players out. Top pair, top kicker, feeling heat. What should you do?
Crivello and Marvin each with their first World Series cash.
Fold.
I don't know if I would have folded face up, but that's a great fold.
Marvin also has a Heartland Poker Tour win to his credit.
Crivello owns a health benefits administrator company.
Strong fold from Crivello. And now Marvin up to almost $15.5 million, 128 bigs. First-timer Scott Blumstein of Jersey with jacks is trying to knock off one of the good guys in the game, Max Silver, with 7s. And the flop is no good for Silver.
Blumstein, the New Jersey pro, bluffed Ben Lamb earlier, now trying to take Max Silver out.
He's down to his last card. Yep, no 7 comes for Max, and his main event has come to a close.
Always sad to see Max Silver go. He's a plus in any card room.
Blumstein continuing his fine run here.
I hate to be critical, but Max shouldn't have snap-shoved.
He won his first bracelet, six-figure score here at the main. Good luck to him and his wife Lisa with baby on the way. A respectable stack for Scott Blumstein.
Jersey boys got a lot of chips.
The recent eliminations bring us to just 5 tables in play at this main event. Strategies and agendas continue to clash as the fight for poker's most vaunted and daunting final table continues. Back at the main event, the money is becoming more meaningful, the shot at history becoming more real.
This guy's probably smart enough not to go to Harvard.
First-timer Scott Blumstein enjoying a nice main event run, a poker pro based on the East Coast. He fully understands the run good he's had to get to this spot.
I'm sorry, he graduated from Temple with a degree in accounting? What are you going to do with an accounting degree from Temple? I don't think there is a working CPA in this country that graduated from Temple.
Scott with pocket tens on a 9-high flop just raised Daniel Turner all in. Turner just with a weak ace and no draw.
Yeah, Turner made a move and Blumstein picked him off. Not sure what Turner's waiting for here.
29 years old from South Lake Tahoe, cashed in last year's main event.
Oh, well, I guess set over set's not a bad way to go out. Like, you have fours like every
Set over set. I think Turner had a set playing video poker yesterday at the Gold Coast. Apparently, I'll be able to walk to Hollywood in the time it takes for him to muck his hand.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not breaking.
Give me a minute, y'all. I'm sorry.
That use of y'all comes from his old Florida days.
You have a 2 sailboat in the hand?
English only, please. Really?
Thank you for the fold.
You said you'll show me.
Oh, come on. Did you really want to the cameras?
Yeah.
The camera's going to see it. Oh, the camera's going to see it.
So it wasn't set over set. It was a pair of tens over nuclear squadouche.
Blumstein with almost 11 million now. Turner with a correct fold lives to fight on here at the Rio on day 6.
That's fine, brother.
Let's go front and center of the Brasilia room to our featured table where they've parked all the former November Niners, remaining 3 of them. One of them, Ben Lamb, just opened for 260 with 6 tray of spades. Michael Ruane folded. There's the third, Antoine Saout in the big blind.
Saout was a first-timer when he final tabled the main event in 09.
6 tray of spades against the Jack 7 suited now as Saout called.
Ben's a cash game guy. He's got a cash game hand, a 6-3 suited.
Heads up, November Niner 09, November Niner 11. Saout discovers second pair, and it is best. 09 checks.
Ben says he always sets a reminder on his phone not to bluff off his chips in the main event on day 1. I always set a reminder to tell me where I parked my car after I bust on day 1 of any World Series event.
11 with a continuation bet. He's got a flush draw.
He bet 290. I would have bet 295, but we're quibbling over 1 chip. I'll let Ben play his game.
Antoine Saout had a nice run in recent years. He does make the call. His jacks are second pair, but they're ahead. Turn card now. Oh, the 7 of spades. Lamb with a flush as Saout hits 2 pair.
Il est bon d'être Ben Lamb.
Ah, it's good to be Ben Lamb.
Oh, you're good looking and bilingual.
Saout checks again. And now, Lamb with the flush. Was that a spade check or a fake spade check of his cards? 825,000.
I would have bet 835, but we're quibbling over a couple of chips. I'll let Ben play his game. And boy, just the worst card in the deck for Saout. Can't see him getting away from 2 pair here.
Ben starting this hand with almost twice the stack as Antoine. And there is the call from the French-born London resident. River card now, few outs for Saout, and that is not one of them. Ben Lamb is best.
Curious thing about Saout, earbud is in the left ear. He hears the music in his right ear.
He checks for a third time.
1.7 million will do the job nicely here if Ben is listening.
How much value can he get from Saout?
1.7 million.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's more. A bit heftier. Almost 3/4 of the pot. 2.15 million.
2.15. Oh, now we're quibbling over way too many chips.
Saout with 2 pair.
Nothing changes with that river, seemingly. Saout might have a change of heart in committing even more to this pot. He can't beat a flush. He can't beat a set. He can't beat aces up. He can beat Ben Lamb applying 3-barreled pressure with nothing.
But Ben has the flush. The famous Ben Lamb stare down.
Maybe Antoine's waiting for the song to end.
There's the call. There's the flush.
Saout lost almost half his stack on that hand. And in retrospect, I think Ben bet the exact right amount on every street.
Saout with about half the chip average right now, late on day 6. Lamb approaching 18 million after a fortunate run out, holding 6 tray suited. The final table is never a foregone conclusion, but with that stack, Lamb is becoming a favorite to be there. It's Ben Lamb than everyone else at this feature table. Lamb with over 17 million chips, about 6 million more than Pedro Oliveira, who was just moved to this table. Just 5 tables remain at the main event. Oliveira under the gun.
1 hoodie folds.
Neil Patel, suited 9-6.
Another hoodie folds.
King 9 of spades for Sean Gibson.
This hoodie might play.
He's got a stack of over 7 million. He's going to raise it up to 300,000.
Okay, now we're down to the hoodie-free end of the table.
Ostapchenko and now Lamb. Ben will sit this one out.
I call.
Boy, can you see Hesp in a hoodie?
Oh, no thanks. Pocket Jacks makes the call. Ruane with queens.
Ooh, a hoodie would not protect Hesp from Ruane's pocket queens.
Yeah, this will not be just a call.
Michael's sitting pretty here.
Ruane beginning the hand with a less than average stack of 5.2 million. There's a re-raise to $1.2 million.
That 3-bet should clear out the shoe clerks and crumb bums.
Saout in the small blind. So now back around to Gibson, the original raiser. And he gives it up. John Hesp with jacks.
Well, John underrepresented his hand, so he might push back here.
I'm all in.
Call.
He does, and Ruane snap calls.
Yeah, this is a big one between these two.
Come on. Come on. Oh.
Ruane seems too stressed. Maybe he ought to consider another line of work. He is all in, and Hesp in for more than half his stack.
Michael agonized.
Good luck.
And then there's John.
Here we go. You're ahead. I just need to spike a jack and we've got a chance.
There's the flop. No paint.
Oh, no, it's no good. No good. No good to me.
That flop is all good for Ruane.
Wow.
And that's a good card for Michael, too.
What? Oh, club. Oh, no, club's no good to me at all. It has to be a jack only. Jack and a jack only.
Good luck, Johnny boy.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the whole world's rooting for you.
Well, I figured he might that snap call though. I was thinking of putting it down, but we'll see what happens. Yes.
There is Michael's double up.
Ruane sticks around. Hesp loses more than half his chips.
Good hand.
Yeah.
Ruane with 11 million on a mission to make this final table again. Hesp feeling the sting of pocket jacks.
Yes, I've got a chip and a chair left, Michael.
A lot of chips.
Yeah, well, not so many. Not so many for this.
Not what used to be.
No.
John Hesp had a chance to climb into the top 10, but a few pots gone wrong. He's far from the leaders. Dan Ott and Ben Lamb still cruising, but as we've learned, tides can change quickly.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah. Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
We are in the thick of it here on day 6 of the World Series of Poker Main Event. Lon McCarron with Norman Chad, Kara Scott, and Joe Stapleton. First-timer Jack Sinclair making a nice debut.
This kid is a first-timer like I'm newly married. If he shows up at my home game, I'm calling INS.
Superman's here with a massage?
That is the most un-Superman thing I've ever seen. Let me guess, he's getting a pedicure on the break. Jeez!
That's our Superman in Technicolor clothing. First-timer John Hesp.
What a hat, what a shirt, what a jacket, what a main event for John Hesp.
To John's right, the dangerously skilled Ben Lamb.
I have a rule. If Ben Lamb is to my right or my left, I move to another table.
Are you out of suits yet?
I beg your pardon?
Are you out of suits yet?
Well, no. These shirts I had to have them laundered because I only got 3 shirts and this one jacket. So I guess I might have to take it to the laundry again tonight, maybe, and get it sorted.
You can't just go to the store and buy a new one?
Not online, and they aren't even
custom made just for.
Yes, everyone's unique. Everyone's unique.
Oh, each different shirt's unique.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I'm Dan.
Next to our featured table, Super Pro Dario Sammartino on his feet because he's all in. His queens are good on the Jack-Jack 10 flop against Karin Sarkisian's pocket trays. Oh, they were good until that tray hit the turn.
My mother told me if I rolled my eyes long enough, they'd get stuck. It didn't work. I still rolled my eyes.
The river card is a blank, and Dario Sammartino is out, and the rest of the players will be happy about that.
The talented Italian pro takes it in stride.
Sammartino done. Sarkisian with a chip count of almost 16 million. So 176,000 for Dario at the pay cage, waiting for him. So with Sammartino's elimination, we're down to 42 main event hopefuls. It's German Robin Higela in the chip lead, followed closely by first-timer Dan Ott and multiple-timer Ben Lamb.
Beware of Jack Sinclair. Great name, great background, and he loves to bluff. I like a good bluffer.
The main event with over 7,200 entrants. First place, a whopping $8.15 million.
Beware of Jack Sinclair. Good hair, good fashion sense, good drummer. I like a good drummer.
Just 2 outer tables now. First-timer Scott Blumstein is at one of them, holding ace-queen suited. Scott just got 3-bet by Scott Stewart, trying to make Jack-5 and a much bigger chip stack bring home this growing pot.
Blumstein, 25-year-old living in southern New Jersey. Stewart, 29-year-old living in southern California.
Stewart has over 600,000 in live winnings, and Blumstein makes the call of 575. The flop, 4-6-10. Stewart, it was still 2 live cards. It's the best that can be said about Jack-5.
Stewart says, live life as big as possible in the least amount of time. That's from the Rob Gronkowski playbook.
760,000 from Stewart.
Blumstein is an East Coast poker ambassador. Thinks it's the toughest poker around.
Yeah, he's played a lot of online, giving this main event thing a shot. He makes the call with ace-queen.
Pots are not easy to come by here. It's like trying to acquire waterfront property on the French Riviera.
Turn card now. 9 of clubs does Stewart no good.
That's a very dry board, and they have very dry hands.
Blumstein's still good with the ace-queen, but Stewart keeps firing now, digging into his multi-millions of chips, now with $1,660,000.
Neither has a pair. Neither has even picked up a draw. If a razor comes on the river, they both can shave their beards.
And look at Blumstein stubbornly with the call. And they both must know the other doesn't have a pair, but who's going to blink first? Almost 7 million in the middle, and nobody's got a pair. River card is the ace of clubs, but a third club.
Betting with Squadouche, calling with Squadouche. This would be a better musical than Hamilton. Can Scott Stewart fire a 17th barrel? He's got like a bottomless well of bluffs.
He's reaching. Those mini Frisbees, red ones, are worth $500,000 each. $2,600,000.
think that ran, but I'm not sure.
Down is done.
2.6. I think I got there. Probably should have folded the turn, but cameras. This is going to be a fun hand for TV.
It's been so much fun. I don't want it to end.
Oh, man.
You know, frankly, Scott Stewart has earned this pot.
310, 39.
I guess you did it.
Call!
Open, please.
I don't know how Scott Blumstein did that. Scott Stewart doesn't know how he did that.
What a crazy hand. As you mentioned, Stewart can't believe what Blumstein just did.
Ace with the back card, it would have been cooler if I just called with these high.
I still don't know how Scott Blumstein did that.
We often use this time to banter about cell phones, hoodies, and whatever else is bugging you at the moment. But let's talk a little poker for a second, if that's all right with you.
As you please.
Okay, so when we started covering this event, poker was simpler. Raise and take it. Miss the board, on to the next hand. Now, players call two streets with ace high, and they've got logic behind it. What's going on, Norman?
Perhaps you have mistaken me for a poker analyst. I don't know what's going on. It appears the 30-somethings are playing with the American Express green card, while the 20-somethings have the black card. Forget the 50-somethings, they're playing on just plain credit. Anyway, I don't even try to understand what these kids are doing. I just sit back and marvel. Ace-queen on that turn? Go, Scott Blumstein!
Juicy six-figure payouts now being collected by the departed, and a few more to go before the next pay bump. Over the last few days, John Hesp has impressed much of this field here at the Rio, and with good reason. He's got a unique style that is working.
I live in a small seaside town called Bridlington in East Yorkshire. We've got history. It's on the east coast of England in the north. 8s and 4s, 2 pairs.
Wow. Yes! You were a professional.
I'm missing my wife and family so badly. In fact, I'm ringing up my wife morning and night because I said that if I got busted out early, I'll take an earlier flight home. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm studying.
Thank you.
She's been very supportive, and I don't think she can believe the frenzy.
I'm John. John from Yorkshire in England.
I'm getting all these friend requests on Facebook for people I've never heard of in my life.
Would you like to see? No. Okay. You want to see? I love it.
Something's happening spooky, really.
I'm having fun.
I like people. I like playing people. And you can be a professional who knows every stat.
I'm all in.
Wow. But it's no substitute for the gut feeling you have.
You look confident, sir.
You guys would probably call it a read.
Full house. 8's over. Yes.
How do I do it? I don't know.
John Hess' message to fellow recreational players: throw away the book and play the way you feel.
Yeah, he raised onto the gun with a suited ace. No book there. Ben Lamb and the big blind called with ace-queen.
Yeah, a lot of big hands, John.
Well, you know I show anyway, irrespective, big or small. Well, that's if you want to be. I ask you, and if you don't want to,
That's true. You do. You do. You're right. You're not a liar.
I don't have the best read on Ben, but I believe he is considering adopting John Hesp as his legal guardian.
Hesp with less than $3 million behind now. He had a lot more chips not long ago. He gets a call.
We'll gamble, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Well, you can afford it. You can afford it.
Ben's the big stack here. Ace is up for Hesp. Only top pair for Lamb. He checks. 500,000.
You didn't even think about it, John. You just put it right out there.
No, well, you know I don't need to think.
You're right.
You've got to guess whether I'm on tilts or not now. Because these things go through your mind, don't they, when you're professional? Has he got some of that or hasn't he?
Hesp's trying to get into Ben's head here?
There's a call. Turn card. Status quo, and actually a good card for John. It
check.
Reduces the chances he'll get counterfeited. Checked again by Ben. 500,000 again.
Well, now you're just playing with my emotions. It's not fair.
Why?
All right.
I call.
Hesp calls all in with the best hand.
Ace queen. Ace 3. Yes, come on, no queen.
Hesp calls with just under 20 big blinds left.
And Hesp 2 pair, 1 card from a double up or elimination.
A queen or a 10, and Hesp is gone.
The river card, the jack of spades.
Oh. Come on, put it there.
John now with almost 6.6 million.
Right, sorry. Yeah, that's...
Then Lamb is usually the one doing the owning, but he got the sharp end of the stick there. John Hesp has been a breath of fresh, colorful air here.
Thank you, Ben. You met a friend.
The John Hesp adventure ride will continue. The 2017 World Series of Poker is brought to you by PokerGo, the new destination for live poker action. Get in the game today at PokerGo.com. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event, Day 6. 42 players remain, including that man, Scott Stewart, whose 3-barrel bluff came crashing down around him.
Sometimes you ruggle, sometimes you struggle. And when you struggle, you have fewer chips to snuggle.
And there is Scott Blumstein, purveyor of ace-queen and benefactor of Stewart's aggression.
17 million chips. He is running good in the hood as he should.
Blinds are up as we return to the feature table. 80-160 with a 20K ante. Lamb open raise to 350,000 with ace-6 off, taking a page from John Hesp's weak ace playbook.
Scott Blumstein made ace-queen look like pocket aces. He flopped nothing, he turned nothing, made a tough call on the river.
In the small blind with 9-8 of diamonds is Ruane Ling, the short stack at the table. Very talented player from Wheeling, Illinois.
Former poker dealer like Ben Lamb. Finished second in a World Series event this year.
Gets a slightly discounted rate to call Neil Patel in the big blind. An even better deal for him, and he will make the call.
Suited connectors in the blind. You either hit the flop or you miss the flop. Poker 101.
I thought you failed Poker 101.
Actually, I audited it, but they threw me out of the class.
All diamonds there. Ling with a 9-high flush, a redraw to the straight flush. He checked. Patel has no way to win it. He checks. It's Ben Lamb now with a pair of 6s and an ace-high flush draw. Who's reaching for chips? 525. Now to Ling.
He started this hand with just 18 big blinds. All his chips are destined for the middle.
All in.
The part-time poker coach shoves for over $2.5 million with the flush.
2.5?
Yeah, about. Call.
Ben makes the call. And so it'll be Ling trying to avoid some danger.
These hands played themselves, Lon.
So you and I could have played them?
Well, that might be a stretch.
So the cards are out. Ling at risk with the flush. Lamb with the ace-high flush possibilities. He's looking for a diamond that's not the 7. Turn card now. The jack of diamonds, and Lamb goes ahead with the ace-high flush. Ling now an open-ended straight flush draw.
You have 2.
Well, if Ruane Ling rivers the straight flush, we've got to start charging people to watch this stuff.
And the 8 of hearts hits, and that will send Ruane Ling to the payout cage.
Well, flop a flush, make an exit. It's a tough game.
He nearly won a bracelet this summer, finishing second in a no-limit hold'em event. Now a second 6-figure score. Well played, Ryan.
And as usual, it's good to be Ben Lamb.
Benba over 17 million now after a fortunate turn, and the field gets smaller. There's a sight none of his table mates enjoy. Ben Lamb stacking chips. 40 players remain. Average stack now just about 9 million. At an outer table, French pro Benjamin Polak wondering if his second pair and flush draw are worth the $3.5 million to try to knock out Frank Crivello, who's all in with top pair.
Crivello, 35-year-old San Diego amateur.
And there is the call. Crivello at risk.
Crivello sees Polak's hand and doesn't like it much. In fact, he shoots him an Ushka look.
Crivello better than 2-1 to double up one card to come, but the card is a club. And Polak rivers the flush, and Frank Crivello's storybook main event run will end. Polak near 15 million now.
New rule coming in 2018, you cannot cash out with headphones on.
What a nice run for that recreational player. Polak now with an increasing stack, boosting his chances to make that main event final table. First-timers everywhere making deep runs. Jack Sinclair is one of them, holding his own here on day 6.
Stacked. My table's pretty stacked. It's been quite the action table. I think we've had 6 bust outs today, 3 in the same seat. Good luck, guys. Yeah. Lots of chips flying around, like not cagey at all. talking to other people who have been deep in the main before, and they were saying, you know, no one's putting in huge chips with bluffs and stuff, and then, you know, you call like all in, snap fold like all day. So yeah, it's been lots of action and quite a fun table. I think about the next hand, maybe thinking about, you know, the next level and how that's going to affect play with stack sizes, but not thinking about day 7 yet.
He was a drummer in a band, he was a sound engineer, now he's making music on the felt.
In the big blind, he is with 9-7. He needs 240,000 more to defend after an under-the-gun raise from Bond, Matt Bond. With pocket eights, Bond owns a World Series of Poker circuit ring.
He graduated from Wright State, where he had a golf scholarship.
Here's the flop. Ace-10-6, a gut shot for Sinclair. He needs one of Bond's eights, though. A check from Sinclair.
Yeah, nothing better than having double blockers on a gut shot. Reminds me of my days with the Merchant Marines.
Bond still ahead with the pocket pair. Born and lives in Dallas, mostly plays poker. 275,000, a small bet, maybe a tester bet with that ace on the board.
Plus, the double blockers represent a pair of eights, which isn't the best hand. I don't think Jack Sinclair understands the complexity of the situation.
Well, he is a first-timer. You've been here 15 years, so yeah. And a call from Sinclair.
Well, if you're calling that flop like Jack, you need to be able to win when you miss, which is most of the time.
Deuce of spades on the turn changes nothing.
Yeah, not much on that board.
Check. And a check back. River card, 4 of hearts. Sinclair misses everything. Bond's pocket eights will win a showdown.
Nothing much on that board.
And Sinclair now trying to take control. 625.
Who's he kidding? 625? He's got 9 high. The only hand worse than his would be in an old maid deck.
Wow, it's gotten Bond's attention.
Bond. Matt Bond. Call.
No, fold. He shies away from the river bet, giving the pot away to Sinclair.
Jack Sinclair, first time in Las Vegas. Let's run a security check on him.
Jack Sinclair over the 17 million threshold and is close to the chip leaders. For those of you who haven't checked it out yet, PokerGo is the only place you'll get more than 100 days of live poker a year and the best in original poker programming. Subscribe to PokerGo today at PokerGo.com. Back to the center ring, to the man in the circus coat, John Hesp. Queen Jack.
350.
And a raise it.
350.
350,000. Who wants to play with John? How about you, Antoine Saout? No thanks. Fold it to Dan Ott in the big blind. 9-8 suited, and he'll come along.
Ott cashed in the tag team event at the World Series this year with his twin brother, Dylan.
He's got a monster stack here, and now he has a two-way straight draw. Ott has the action. He checks to Hesp, who has top pair.
If John Hesp ever puts part of his jacket over his face, I will move to Perump.
500,000 is the bet from John.
I believe he will bet 500,000 every flop the rest of the main event.
And this is a check raise from the big stack to $1.2 million.
That's old school. Check raise and a draw on the flop. But they keep running these young American punks one at a time at John Hesp, and he keeps tossing them aside and stepping on their throats, which, granted, is physically impossible to do once you have tossed them aside.
John thinking, I have top pair. Doubtful you do.
Raise it.
Oh.
3.5 million.
A re-raise to 3.5.
It's a risky re-raise from Hesp, but when you wear clothes like that, you clearly live on the edge.
John listening to his gut there, no doubt.
You're like 2 mil behind?
Yeah, I've got nothing much. They're only small ones.
Getting a good price to call on the draw.
If he wants to try and hit his straight draw, he's going to have to pay for it. And a fold, and Hesp roars back.
Hesp tosses another young punk aside.
Good to see?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. How's that? Good.
Like I said, if I was going to lose, I'm glad to see you.
I guess that was...
We almost got the same tables yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was good.
Oh, that was good. I had a good hand, though.
Yeah. Well, I figured that wasn't the right thing to flat call there.
Once again, everything working for John Hesp. His biggest previous cash before this main event, $1,000, now guaranteed 6 figures and looking to lock in $1 million if he makes the final table. First things first, over to Jack Sinclair. He's got an ace on the queen-queen ace flop, but Richard Grieco with the better kicker.
The first time Grieco played the main event in 2006, he finished 56th.
280 from Grieco, 280 from Sinclair.
Does Jack Sinclair only play hands from behind?
9 of clubs on the turn. That is Sinclair's kicker, but Grieco is still good with his 10 kicker.
Since he only plays from behind, I assume Sinclair must bluff at every pot to win him.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. A check back now from Sinclair. River is the deuce of spades, ensures Grieco will win a showdown.
Deuce on the river never changes anything, anytime, anywhere, in any hand.
Now Grieco reaching for chips. Slightly more than a quarter pot, 430,000.
Grieco with a small value bet, confident his big ace is good here. Will Sinclair pay him off? Grieco won a bracelet at World Series Europe in 2015 in PLO.
Jack Sinclair coming alive with the raise to $1.4 million.
And Grieco thinking, what the heck? I had to travel 5,000 miles to run into this crazy countryman in the middle of the desert?
We saw Sinclair steal the pot from Matt Bond, and now trying to do the same to Grieco.
When I sit back and wonder why I never win poker tournaments, it might be because I never consider plays like this. Sinclair's got Grieco on the defensive.
And Grieco gives it up. Sinclair steals another pot that was headed elsewhere.
Win the flip. Huh? Win the flip. It didn't matter which one he turned.
This Jack Sinclair is a clear and present danger.
Sinclair stacking over 18 million now. He is playing some poker. Jack Sinclair making a name for himself. Back to the feature table. John Hesp in the small blind with pocket sevens. What to do after Sean Gibson opened for 400,000 with ace-9 of hearts.
Gibson, 41-year-old CPA from Kentucky.
Call. John calls. Michael Ruane in the big blind, looking to go back-to-back main event final tables. 8-5 in the big, and he will call. Some motley hands out there. Hesp has the best of it, and Hesp with a set again. And he checks his set, a gut shot for Ruane.
I believe John Hesp flops a set every 43 minutes.
Check. Nobody is empty-handed here as Ruane checks. Top pair for Gibson.
Gibson was a Cincinnati Bengals season ticket holder for over 20 years until he couldn't take it any longer.
He actually, when he riffles his chips, he calls that the icky riffle.
Raise.
650,000 from Gibson with his pair of nines, and a check raise with the set from Hesp to $1.5 million. Ruane folds.
Well, my sympathies to Gibson. This hand's going to end up like most Bengals games. Top pair, top kicker feels pretty good until you are check raised by a Technicolor fellow amateur.
Small.
No.
3 goes all in.
Yeah, I call.
And there's the call, and Hesp has Sean Gibson drawing nearly dead.
Yeah, all in with 2% equity. That's about 98% less than optimal. This time they ran a middle-aged American punk at Hesp, and he tosses them aside and steps on their throat.
Hesp about to get healthy.
I just don't want to see any nines. No more nines. Oh, mind you, that's good.
Gibson needs runner, and that's not one of them. The king seals the deal. And Sean Gibson, another victim of John Hesp.
Sean Gibson's first main event cash is a good one.
39th place, and his winnings surpass his previous career earnings. What a memorable run for that recreational player.
John Hesp better launder his jacket for day 7.
Oh, I'm back. Thank you.
You're more than back.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get busted out. Michael was going to bust me out with those queens almost.
I think you're back to where you were.
Yeah, I'm just glad you had less chips than I had. Otherwise, I would have.
Back above the average, back in the mix. John Hesp's main event frolic rolls on. Welcome back inside the Brasilia room here at the Rio. Lon McCarron on hand with Norman Chad Carrascott and Joe Stapleton. John Hesp was reeling a little while ago, but now he's back, making a big push to the final table.
It's my time. The poker gods are with me. The vibes I'm getting, the calls I'm making, the raises I'm making, most of them have been right. But don't forget, I've also had the cards sometimes, and sometimes I haven't. And of course, as the song goes, it's, you know, knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. That is also a big thing.
I'm not sure he could beat Homer Simpson heads up, but, you know, I think he is protected by a larger force than any of us can imagine.
Chip counts just for this table now. John Hesp with nearly $14 million at the moment. Ben Lamb under the gun with ace-queen.
Raise it. 400.
Not your turn, John.
Sorry, Ben, I didn't.
Hess perhaps getting a little battle weary.
The main event is a mental grind. So 160,000, just a call from Lamb.
Raise it to 400.
And John actually has to put in the 400,000 that he announced earlier out of turn.
Well, Lamb just limped in, perhaps setting up a 3-bet when it gets back to him.
I'm sorry if I...
It happens.
Sorry, Ben. I just guess I'm getting tired.
Back around to Lamb.
I guess I'm getting tired.
And just a call from Ben.
Hesp doubled up on Lamb the last time Ben had ace-queen against him.
And here is 8-8 Jack Hesp with the best of it again.
500.
$500,000, of course.
All right, this one I got to see. This one I got to see right here. It's a funny one.
What do you think?
I think I had ace-queen. I think you have me beat. Do now.
It's amazing to watch Ben's favorite person in the world outplay him, or at least keep out-flopping him.
Nines have been lucky for me.
I mean, in the long run, what chances would John Hesp or any of us have against Ben Lamb?
You thought I had aces.
So you thought you had aces?
Well, if I just limp, you have to raise. So if I have aces, I can limp and raise. You know, you kind of fishy of me to do, but
I didn't change my bet.
No, I know.
He honored it. Yeah. It was the right thing to do. I made a mistake. It cost you.
It did cost me.
But not because you had the chance of getting out of it. I hit the flop, which was good.
You did.
Carrascott has more on the very likable John Hesp.
John Hesp is such an interesting character to be this deep in the main event. He says playing the main has been on his bucket list for a long time, and he just finally decided to take the plunge. Normally, he plays poker maybe once a month in a local game, and he's never played in a single large tournament before this. His dream is to win and use that to help him bring a big event to his hometown of Bridlington in England and have all the stars of poker there enjoying the East Yorkshire hospitality.
Qui Win was good for poker because how he played the game. John Hesp is good for poker because how he acts the table. Smiling, congenial, and great spirits. It should be a wake-up call for all poker players.
We're going to keep it here and see John run. Ben Lamb on the button with Jack-8 raises to 320,000. Hesp in the small blind with King-Queen off.
Hesp 64, twice as old as Ben Lamb.
That would make Lamb 32.
It's a statistical improbability. You divided by 2 correctly.
And a call from Hesp. Ruane and the big blind will not get in between the two lovebirds.
Yeah, the Lamb and Hesp show, backed by popular demand.
Hesp with the better hand pre-flop.
Me and Johnny Boy.
Yeah, well, heads up, Ben. Let's go for
And
it.
Hesp with the best of it again, second pair. And he checks, not loving the ace.
Lamb's hobbies include golfing, wake surfing, jet skiing, and now John Hesping.
John Hesping has become his most treacherous habit. Lamb reaching for chips. Second best here, 4% equity in the hand, 380,000.
I kept it nice and easy.
Okay. Make it $1 million.
Check raising.
Not nice or easy.
Hesp couldn't make it 500,000, so he made it 500,000 times 2.
How can I be mad? My favorite person in the won. My favorite person in the world won the pot.
You want to see?
I do. You're too good. You are way too good. Scary.
Well done again, John Hesp.
You're right, you're right. You didn't pass the ace.
I'm surprised too.
John Hesp making all the right moves, winning another pot at the expense of 2011 World Series of Poker Player of the Year, Ben Lamb.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah. Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
My favorite person in the world won the pot.
Do you want to see?
I do. You're too good. You're way too good. It's scary.
Ben Lamb and John Hesp jousting at the feature table. Lamb having some trouble with Hesp, but his stack is still good enough for the overall chip lead. Ben with the prickly pocket jacks here. I trust him in his hands. He's going to raise it to 350. Hesp on the button with king, queen of spades.
By the way, Ben Lamb has great poker skills. Tonight on display are his people skills. He's just got the right tableside manner.
Hesp with a call. Ruane with ace-8 of spades.
Ruane might be thinking squeeze play here from the small blind.
No squeeze. That's just a call joining the fray. Antoine Saout. He's in the big blind. He peaks at 7-5. He's got a spade.
He's got rags. But I don't know if he can resist 7-1 on a call here.
And he makes the call. So John Hesp with the trio of past November Niners. Keep your head down, John.
This is why the main event is amazing. How can he be with these three guys?
Right? All right, here's the flop, four-way action, 10 deuce ace, no spades. Ruane leads now with a pair of aces. Everyone else a distant second.
Ruane checked Lon.
Saout.
Saout checked Lon.
Lamb.
Is that a check?
Check.
Lamb and Hesp checked Lon.
Turn card now, no action. Tray of hearts, still best is Ruane. Saout picks up a wheel draw.
Ruane's gonna check Lon. Saout's going to check Lon. Lamb's going to check Lon.
Check.
Check.
Haven't seen this many checks at a main event table since Martin Stashko knocked Ben out of the main event. All right.
Everyone's going to check. Ruane will take down a small pot. Thank you.
Check.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Check.
Check.
No, not this time. 400.
Ooh.
Oh, Hess makes me look stupid.
That's not hard to do, sir.
Call.
Ruane calls.
Can't blame Hess for betting, I guess.
I guess you might have the beat here, Antoine. Queen King.
Ruane will win it with a weak ace after we set a record for checks in the main event.
Ruane, the one young American punk Hesp cannot toss aside.
You thought there was a bit of... Did you think there was some trapping going on there?
That could have been very bad, John.
What, for me?
That seemed
For me.
What, you mean you were thinking about...
I was yelling Jack in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you want a Jack?
I thought I did.
You didn't. I needed the Jack.
I know, I see that
Queen
now.
did give me the second pair.
Well, the Jack would have gave you
Yes,
at least a few million chips.
Yeah. One more. Yeah. So you got...
What a featured table that is. Into the field, such as it is. There's Christian Pham, a local pro with a bracelet and a circuit ring, facing a 3-bet pre-flop from Superman, who of course holds a bigger ace. Dweck with ace-8. Pham calls with the ace tray of diamonds.
Pham won a bracelet and deuce to 7 2 years ago after registering for the wrong event. He had never even played deuce to 7 before. Superman's never done that.
He said he never even heard of the event. 2 big stacks, Pham with a bigger of the 2. Here's the flop. Tray 5 king. Suddenly Dweck is behind, and he is betting $800,000 on the continuation bet. Pham with a pair of trays has the lead.
Pham, also a professional singer. He had to cancel a date at Planet Hollywood this week because he was too deep into this main event. Hey, you don't miss gigs at Planet Hollywood because you were playing poker. Professional singer, my butt.
Pham calls $800,000.
Well, these days, continuation bets mean nothing. Nothing. Chivalry is dead. No one folds the C-bets anymore.
Deuce of diamonds, Dweck drawing thin. He and Pham both have the same wheel draw, but Pham also has a straight flush draw.
Well, Dweck's going to continue to posture. He is Superman.
Yeah, he does bet $1.4 million here.
Pham called the flop with bottom pair and a backdoor flush draw, so he's not going anywhere here. Plus, heck, he does have the best hand.
All right, he does call for $1.4 million. The pot builds to over $6 million.
Superman always finds a way out of every jam.
All right, river card now. The 4 of diamonds, the steel wheel for Pham, the wheel for Dweck. Dweck's betting. And Pham puts Dweck all in.
Dweck thought he got there on the river, but if he calls now, he's gone.
I'll call. All in on the call.
And you will lose. Superman has met his match.
They have to go over.
Pham takes that gigantic pot.
Steel wheel.
And he brings Superman back to earth. There is your main event chip leader.
Yes.
The straight flush was kryptonite to Superman.
Dweck was all in on the costume for 6 days. We commend him for that and the very impressive 38th place finish.
Superman down.
There's a phone booth down the street at the Gold Coast. Sorry, Jonathan.
It took a straight flush to knock off Superman. Christian Pham now the one to beat. A hand none of us will soon forget. A straight flush gives Christian Pham the chip lead, sends Jonathan Dweck to the rail. He's with Joe Stapleton now.
The man of steel eliminated by a steel wheel. Jonathan, I can only imagine that you are more disappointed than we are, and we are pretty bummed.
Yeah, you know, I played that last hand pretty badly. I mean, I'm so tired, and I made a mistake with my raise pre-flop, and I thought to myself, like, how does he get there on the river with a flush? But he had it, so, you know, for size hand, I guess it makes sense, but I made a big mistake there. It cost me my tournament.
Can you not wait to take this thing off?
Yeah, I can't wait to take it off when I get back to my hotel. It's a little hot in here, and I don't know. Honestly, I was comfortable earlier on, but now it's really hot, so...
So you don't want to do it right now in front of us?
No, I'm going to wait till I get back, and it's a mess under here. It's a big sweaty mess.
Sorry, ladies.
All right. Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
Christian Pham began this day with 2.8 million, well below average. Now he's the top dog. He was on Kui Wynn's rail for his championship win last year, and now he's the man to beat in the main event. To our featured table, folded to the blinds, Ben Lamb and John Hesp, all who are left to play here.
Lamb has the 5 of diamonds. He can also make a diamond steel wheel like Christian Pham just did.
A new tactic for Ben.
Hesp should have punished him.
It's time we had a friendly one, Ben.
All right, they see a flop for cheap. Oh, middle and bottom pair for Lamb.
Lamb will not be slow playing bottom 2 pair on that board.
Lamb slow playing middle and bottom pair on that board.
My motto should be, see something, say nothing.
Hesp now with a gut shot. Lamb has the action.
Now he will bet, or my name isn't... Oh, forget, I can't even remember what my name is.
250 from Lamb, and he will take that small pot.
Hesp shows and folds. It doesn't seem to be right that the best players get to see Hesp's hands. He doesn't get to see theirs.
Good point.
I think I'm 1 in like 9 against you now.
Well, is that what it is? Have a gut shot. And an ace.
Yeah.
So I guess you did the right thing.
Good we got there. I had you though.
You got there, did you? Well, I'll see you
I had you on the flop and turn, yeah.
Ah, good.
Yeah. What is that guy? Is that your ante?
As a reminder, for unlimited access to more of the best in live poker all year long, get in the game with PokerGO. You know, Texas Hold'em is a game where you can earn big chips from flopping a set, especially set over set, as Valentin Messina on the left did against Scott Blumstein. On the river, Messina just bet $1.6 million on a completed board with straight and flush danger everywhere you look.
Messina does not seem worried about those dangers. Blumstein cannot raise here. He can't fold. He can only call.
Scott has been pretty right on his reads. But I think you're right, Norman. He's got to put chips in the middle. He does. And they will go to Messina.
Yep. Good news for the 37-year-old French pro.
Messina with a nice pot from the main event rookie. 37-year-old Messina, born in France, lives in Malta.
T'as vu tout le coup? Hein? T'as vu tout le coup? J'ai ligne très flop. English only. English only. Between ends. No. Still English only. Still English only. Okay, no problem. I just say. No, I'm not saying you're saying anything wrong. Yeah, just say that in English.
Now we've got an all-in and call at the featured table. Short stacked Andrew Ostapchenko, 3-bet all-in for $3.3 million with pocket eights. Dan Ott using about a quarter of his stack and pocket jacks to try and score the knockout.
By the way, the English-only rule brought us Will Kassouf. We might want to rethink it.
Ostapchenko looking for something. Nothing there for him. Dan's jacks are looking good right now.
This is the Harvard kid against the Penn State Altoona kid. See, poker is the great equalizer.
Turn card now. The filmmaker-to-be has a script in mind. Will the dealer follow it? Well, he's got a straight draw now.
Yeah, he triples his outs.
Of course. Seven out of 8. Look at that, yeah. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
Ott can't look. Ostapchenko hopes he sees a 7 or an 8 on the river.
The river card is the 9 of diamonds. Ott gets the jacks to hold. Andrew Ostapchenko comes up short and empty.
27-year-old Southern California pro with his biggest cash ever in his second main event. Ott in his first main event.
One of the big stacks in the room. Ostapchenko out. Ott climbing. We're down to only 32 here at the main event. A look back at the eliminations that preceded Andrew Ostapchenko's. Matt Bond gone in 35th.
Bond. Matt Bond.
Dan Turner in 34th.
Turner. Daniel Turner.
And then Chris Wallace out in 32nd.
Wallace. Chris Wallace. But not Chris Wallace from Fox News.
No. There's Dan Ott. His flop check was countered with a bet of 575 from Ben Lamb with a better hand. Neither has paired up. Lamb with a flush draw. Ott a gut shot. And there's a call from Dan Ott.
Lamb looks more comfortable at the poker table than Ott.
10 of hearts. Still nobody pairing up. King high. Good for Lamb here.
Yeah, neither with a hand, both with a draw. I got a feeling Jack Sinclair is going to take down this pot.
You're right. Ott has the action. Out of position. He's going to check. Ben Lamb cautious as well. And a diamond on the river. Ben Lamb scores the flush as the board pairs.
One man hits his draw, but the other man is betting. Maybe that is Jack Sinclair under there.
Yeah, $1,250,000 now.
Lamb with the king high flush. The board paired, but based on previous action, I doubt he's worried about a full house.
Ben Lamb doesn't have John Hesp to deal with, just the other pro in Dan Ott.
I believe Ben is right-handed, so if he used his right hand instead of his left hand, he could put this bet together a little quicker.
That is a raise to $2,875,000.
Ott's got two options, fold quickly or fold slowly, thank you.
So Lamb puts a little distance between himself and Dan Ott.
It's good to be Ben Lamb.
Ben Lamb stacking almost 20 million chips, but that is nearly 6 million chips behind that man, the new chip leader, Christian Pham. All right, so we go from Christian's table to the other outer table, catching up again with Frenchman Valentin Messina. He has ace-king, but he was just re-raised by the ace-jack of Joshua Marvin.
Marvin, 27-year-old Michigan pro with a finance degree from the University of Oakland in Michigan.
Messina 4 bets. And Marvin says all in. And a call. So, well, ace-jack is in trouble against the ace-king.
That's unfortunate for Marvin. 5 betting all in with ace-jack offsuit. He started the hand with 52 big blinds.
Now here is our flop. And the paired board is Marvin's friend.
Messina trying to continue his nice day.
Another 10 on the turn.
10-3 or ace would chop the pot. Jack wins it for Marvin.
And the river card, the deuce of clubs. Messina takes that monster pot. Marvin will take the walk, and he will take home almost $215,000 in cash, chips or money order.
The French are standing tall here.
And we've got the new chip leader right there, Valentin Messina. Messina joins Christian Pham and Ben Lamb as the only players above 20 million chips.
Lamb lost every pot to John Hesp, but he must have won every pot against the rest of the table. And don't sleep on Scott Blumstein, ace-queen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the conclusion of day 6 of the main event. Lon McCarron, Norman Chad, Kara Scott, Joe Stapleton, and 30 players looking for over $8.1 million. First-timer Scott Blumstein showing he's got what it takes to win.
To be 25 again, single, and playing the field in Morristown.
How about Marcel Lusk marching to his own beat, and it's working again.
Marcel is a character among characters. His stack could use a pick-me-up, though.
And our chip leader, 42-year-old Christian Pham, originally from Vietnam, now living in Las Vegas.
Last year's champ Quy Nguyen was 40 years old, and he came from Vietnam to Las Vegas. Vietnam must be to poker what Indiana is to college hoops.
There you see Pham atop the leaderboard, closely followed by Valentin Messina of France, Ben Lamb at $21 million in third.
I like Jack Sinclair, flying under the radar, bluffing at will, no fear whatsoever. Plus Jack Sinclair, main event champion, it just sounds right.
Let's get right to our 7-handed featured table. Blinds at 100,000, 200,000, a 30K ante. Chicago options trader, Yankee fan. Jersey raised, Neil Patel with the action, ace-8.
Where do we draw the line on weak aces? Has this been discussed?
You would be the only one to discuss it.
Well, I'm tired of talking to myself.
450,000 is the raise. 4th main event for Neil. First cash. Good job. Ben Lamb on the button. King, queen of spades.
I'm building a Ben Lamb wing in my home with his poker profits.
Lamb, a bracelet winner in 2011. Player of the year here at 2011.
Do you want to talk about the weak ace?
We'd prefer it if you discussed it on your own time.
Can I have like another green behind there?
I hate when guys stand up and point at my short chip stack.
Lamb made the call. Ruane, 5-4 of clubs in the big blind. Last year's main event final tableists will come along.
You have $4 million, correct?
They're vultures. Protect your chips, Neil.
Middle pair for Ruane is best. Michael with the action. He checks it. Patel missed with his ace-8. He checks it. Lamb with 2 overs.
If you check to Ben Lamb, that's a blank check for him to do as he wishes.
Right? So Lamb now bet 675.
Ruane trying to make back-to-back main event final tables against fields of 6,700 and 7,200, trying to out Newhouse Mark Newhouse.
Michael with a check raise with the best hand to $1,525,000. Patel shrinks away.
Oh, nice read from Ruane. Ben getting married soon, so he's probably thinking about how to seat his in-laws rather than whether a re-raise here would work.
Trying to pick up some vibe from Ruane is Ben Lamb. And he'll fold.
That's how you make back-to-back main event final tables, but it's not gonna happen. How can it?
The always strong appearing check raise does the trick for Michael Ruane. 67 bigs for the man.
I was just thinking, Ben's got a wedding planner. Maybe he needs a post-flop play planner. The Norman Chad School of Poker's opening soon, Ben.
Let's talk about Michael Ruane. 4th place finish last year, making another charge to the final table this year. Is it just a coincidence? Someone has to run deep twice in a row? Or can this kid play?
Oh, he can play. Don't be fooled by the ratty t-shirts or the long strands of hair flailing about his head or his bologna and cheese diet. He's cool, calm, collected, and maybe a bit too serious and intense for my tastes, but he plays with purpose.
Okay, but since Michael's 4th place finish last year, he has not had one reported tournament cash. What do you make of that?
What do I make of that? You want to know what I make of that?
I asked.
You can't handle the truth. Maybe he doesn't play that many tournaments. Maybe he took a job at Arby's. Maybe he's wandering the streets of Hoboken being kind to strangers. Maybe it's none of our business.
You're from the UK?
I am, yes.
Which city?
I'm Hull. Hull, well, just near Hull.
Okay.
A little town called Bridlington, which is on the East Yorkshire coast.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Brittany.
Brittany.
But I live in London since 4 years.
Right. So you live in London? And,
these left in the rack.
Well, we have to have a chat later when we get... Maybe when we get some time, eh?
Don't do it, Antoine. He'll try to sell you some swampland in East Yorkshire.
To our secondary feature table, just 4 tables in play now. Lithuanian Justas Vaičiulionis with King Queen is almost all in, was called by the UK's Richard Grieco with Ace 10. There's the flop, and Ace High for Grieco is still the hand to beat.
Vaičiulionis only had 1 big blind left with the pre-flop action. We call that a rainy day big blind.
Oh, he is all in for 305 and gets the call from the ace. Grieco with a chance to score a knockout.
Grieco, 33-year-old bracelet winner from the UK. Vaičiulionis, 34-year-old Lithuanian fitness club owner.
On his feet, looking for a king or a queen. Grieco, very strong player, looking to extend his main event run with some extra chips to go. And now Vaičiulionis gets a heart. He's got more outs.
Yeah, Vaičiulionis now playing hearts. That gives him a slot machine of outs.
As long as it eventually does occur.
Grieco looking for the knockout. Vaičiulionis looking for a heart, king, or queen.
The river card. 7 of clubs. Grieco hangs on with ace high and sends Vaičiulionis to the payout line.
Earbuds, check. Hoodie, check. Shades, check. Help on the river, so sorry. But he gets his second main event cash.
30th place, pays almost $215,000. 2 eliminations from a pay bump, redraw, and the end of day 6. Grieco finished 50th in 06, the biggest main event field ever. Our third table under the lights has an all-in and call. Marcel Lusk's shove was called by main event veteran Jake Baisley, holding ace-king. Marcel putting it all in with 9s.
Marcel pushed with 10 big blinds. Baisley, 33-year-old Cincinnati pro, 3 World Series final tables. Nice guy, but if he knocks out Marcel, he answers to me.
All right, here's the flop. No ace or king for Baisley, so Marcel's 9s are still good.
The last guy to knock Marcel out of the main event now works on a crawfish farm in southern Utah.
7 of spades. Baisley's still avoiding the crawfish farm fate.
Baisley looking for an ace or a king. Marcel not looking for an ace or a king.
The river. 6 of clubs, and Marcel Lusk's main event venture will continue.
Happy days are here again.
Marcel finished 14th in the 03 main event, 10th in the 04 main event, and that double up will extend this run a little while longer. Marcel, always happy. He's got chips to stick around a little while longer. The 2017 World Series of Poker is brought to you by PokerGO, the new destination for live poker action. Get in the game today at PokerGo.com. Welcome back to the Rio. 29 players remaining on this day 6 of the main event. We play down to 27 tonight. Head into day 7, the day before the final table. Antoine Saout is part of the storyline of players looking for a repeat appearance at the final table.
And he is part of a very strong French contingent this year. 4 of them still in the running.
Also here, first-timer Dan Ott. Dan's 3rd cash at the World Series, and he's making it a memorable one.
Graduated from Penn State Altoona and got his marketing degree as a backup plan. My American Studies degree from the University of Maryland wasn't even a backup plan for me. Who's going to hire an American Studies major?
Dan in the small blind with King Jack of clubs and 3 other players in the hand. Ben Lamb open with pocket 4s. His shadow, John Hesp, is in with ace queen, as is Antoine Saout on the button holding ace 10 of clubs.
Ott wants to say hi to his mom, Alicia. I think she's here. Why can't he do that himself?
Ott has some of those mini red frisbees worth $500,000 each. That is a re-raise to $1,825,000 with King Jack.
Squeeze!
Is that 7 right there or 8? I can't, or 75? What? Oh yeah, 75. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Ott with the worst hand, but this 3-bet should clear out the shoe clerks and crumb bums. Ben with the best hand, but At the moment, he looks like a shoe clerk.
Yeah, pocket fours don't look so strong now. He gets out of the way. John Hesp.
This guy looks like a technicolored crumb bum.
Ace queen for amateurs, oftentimes a green light.
Do you want to call?
Up to you.
Is that a no comments?
What did you say?
Is that no comments?
No comment.
I'm sorry.
By the way, you should not have to remove an article of clothing from the front of your mouth every time you want to speak.
Yes, with the lay down. Now Saout. A much easier fold. How about that for Dan Ott?
Show one. You show one? No, it's great.
Big late now.
Good spot. I almost squeezed our solve it.
You up?
I almost did the same.
Yeah.
Well, Dan might be a first-timer at this main event, but he's got a built-in rail to support him.
My twin brother's name is Dylan. We were doing good this past year, so we decided to take our shot in the main. We're used to playing deeper poker. We were pretty confident in our abilities. We're doing all right. I convinced him to fly down, then he busted day 2. Didn't feel too good, but I was happy with how I played, and it just didn't fall my way. We fought a little bit when we were little, but we kind of got over that as we matured. Some fights went down, but we kind of grew out of that. We developed poker together, so that's like a big bond. 6th grade was the moneymaker year. And we just started playing, and I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And about that same time, we were learning our math times tables. We got cards to study times tables. Instead of doing the times tables, we just played poker in the back. He's the one that wanted to be the poker player. I wanted to be a lawyer. That's kind of what I decided to put in my yearbook. It says occupation, and it says I want to own a business or play poker professionally. When we're asked who the better poker player is, normally I'll say me. I'm doing well, and he lost, so I think it's safe to say it's him.
Dan, born on January 28th, 1992, the exact same day as his twin brother Dylan.
Stop it. With ace-9, Dan facing a 3-bet all-in pre-flop from Neil Patel, holding a dominating ace. Dan needs about $2.6 million to call. He does commit about a quarter of his stack. Patel at risk.
Patel happy to see this.
I think you're going to get good news here.
Let's go. Come on, Sonny. Hold. Ace-9 versus ace-10.
Don't need a math times table to know that ace-9 is less than ace-10.
Unsure if he did the right thing.
Well, about a quarter of Ott's stack here for the call. Patel pushing with 15 big blinds.
Patel on pins and needles at risk. Here's our flop. Ott pairs his kicker to turn the tables on Patel, who flopped a gut shot.
Oh, boy. And now the option trader suddenly running out of options.
Dylan Ott on the rail, supporting his brother. Patel looking for help. You see the outs. The ace hits both. Does not change what Patel needs to stick around.
Patel needs a 7 or a 10.
One time?
No one time this time, and that will be the last of Neil Patel we will see at this main event. Sometimes you got to get lucky. Dan Ott did.
When it's over, it just feels so lousy.
Nice run for this recreational player.
How did I lose that?
A questionable call leads to an unquestionable shot in the arm for Dan. Neil Patel was poised for the double-up, but with his brother rooting him on, Dan Ott spiked a 9 to climb back to nearly 15 million chips.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh, yeah. Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
It might not be a bracelet you wear year-round, but it is an impressive piece of jewelry. Checking back in with Scott Blumstein, $17 million.
Online pro, he thinks the Borgata in Atlantic City is Machu Picchu.
Marcel Lusk back below $3 million after a double up to $4.6 million.
The French gave the U.S. the Statue of Liberty. That was a nice gesture. Marcel the other day gave me a fidget spinner. I just don't think this is the same thing.
At the secondary feature table, your guy, Jack Sinclair, first-timer, great name, bluffer extraordinaire.
A former sound engineer coached by Philip Grissom and Anton Morgenstern. I hope Grissom and Morgenstern only coach him in poker because I hate a loose, aggressive sound engineer.
I do take issue with his Twitter handle. Jacks are not incredible.
Really? How about Jack Nicklaus or Jack Nicholson?
All right, you got me there. They're the best. All right, Jack is facing a re-raise from Richard Dubini pre-flop. Jack was 7-5 of diamonds. Dubini, a poker pro from Argentina, got busy with ace-10 of diamonds.
And here's the Jack Sinclair I love, behind but buoyant.
He does make the call for a little over $1.5 million more. Jack began the hand with $16 million, Dubini $20 million. Hello, Jack. I guess Jacks can be incredible when they gang up. A check to Dubini.
There's no way Sinclair will check 3 straight streets with 7-5.
They both check deuce of hearts.
Sinclair is out of position, but he is built to bet, to bluff, to dupe and delude.
Dubini leading, but just with ace high. And now Jack with the red mini frisbees, $2 million.
There's no way he has any piece of that board, Richard. Trust me.
Ace high now for Dubini.
You go queens?
Queens? He hasn't seen a queen since he left London.
Queens?
7-5, same thing.
I always thought position was the guy who acted last in the hand.
You're right. Jack turns that around.
And Dubini gives it up. He will test you all the way to the end and loves stealing pots.
You can pick one.
7-5 is his road hand. He doesn't leave home without it.
Yeah, I bet 7's on the 10. Makes a lot of sense.
Sinclair approaching $20 million. For those of you who have not checked it out yet, PokerGO, the only place you'll get more than 100 days of live poker a year and the best and original poker programming. Subscribe to PokerGO today at PokerGo.com. Back to the featured table now with the November Niner vets and John Hesp. Hesp, an amazing presence at this main event. Seems even his fellow competitors are rooting for him.
You know, people at poker tables root for me too, Lon.
Yeah, well, they're just happy to see your chips.
We're not going to what?
Good for you.
I don't think so either.
He's going to raise, Norman, and he loves to announce it.
450.
What happened to 500,000? Medic to the feature table.
Ruane now, next to act, under the gun +1, queen 10 of clubs.
Ruane says making the final table last year was indescribable, so he can't describe it.
Ruane does call, though he's dominated by Hesp.
Did you have any interest in me describing my World Series final table, Lon?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Fold it around to Ben Lamb with ace-9 in the big blind.
Lamb made 4 final tables, including the main event in 2011 when he was World Series Player of the Year.
Call.
No, 3 people.
All right, 3 players, as John says, to see the flop. 8-9 tray. Lamb with top pair. He checks. Hesp missed, left with 2 overs, but he wants to continue for 600,000.
600? What happened to 500? Medic to the feature table.
Ruane with a gut shot.
I keep coming often enough, I'll get it right.
Ruane, 2 overs and a gut shot. That sounds like a breakfast order, not a calling hand.
Breakfast to the featured table. Now, Lamb.
Top pair, top kicker, top dog.
Yeah, just a call. Still 3 players to see the turn. Another tray. Lamb with 2 pair now, still ahead. He checks again.
1.2 million.
6 bets, 1.2.
Hesp showing some pep in his step.
That sheds Ruane now. Back to his buddy Lamb. Lamb with a big advantage, just calls.
I don't know what John Hesp's river plan is.
Well, no paint keeps Lamb in control. And now a check for the third time.
Hesp's got to be weary of Lamb check calling. Will another bet do it?
And a check back. Lamb got some back from Hesp.
Nice hand. Wrong time. Wrong time, you got me there.
Huh?
Wrong time.
If you bet again, it'd be hard, but...
Yes, I know. I figured that you had something when you...
Yeah, it's a good river. I don't know if I would have folded. You would have bet.
Ben Lamb flopped top pair and held on, and that pot puts John Hesp under 10 million and wipes the smile off his face for the moment. On the way to the final table, there are so many players who come close, so many almost stories, almost getting to life-changing money, almost winning that championship bracelet, almost becoming part of history. And for many, the realization that this might be the only time they ever come this close. The reality is that almost anyone can make the final table, but it doesn't make it easy to do so. All right, 28 players on 4 tables. The blinds come around a bit quicker. One more elimination before the end of day 6. Average stack about 13 million. At the final table, it will be about 40 million.
Christian Pham, friends with fellow Las Vegas resident Qui Win, our 2016 champion. Pham being coached by LA pro Young Fan, who coached Qui last year for the final table.
Jack Sinclair has the action with 6-5 of hearts. His plan of attack has been working. Get into pots and then apply pressure every chance he can.
Phil Ivey, wherever you are, stay there. On with this Sinclair fella now.
Wow, that's saying something. A raise to $500,000 from Sinclair. Around to Pham in the small blind with ace-queen. And just a call over to the big blind, Robin Hegela, 27-year-old German living in Austria, the hub of the German poker machine.
One-time chip leader, T-shirt and a scarf. That's a turn of the century look. I'm not even sure which century.
He's in the big blind. He gets a discount, but it's still 7-4. You see the hand, he goes, well, I guess I'll call. And he does.
Well, for Jack Sinclair, it could be worse. It could be 6-5 offsuit.
All right, here's the flop. 3-way action. 8 deuce deuce. Everyone misses exactly what Jack hopes for.
Yeah.
It's check to him.
Check, check, bet.
That's why I call him many frisbees. $500,000. Pham has the big stack to keep Jack honest. He just calls.
Pham taking the Scott Blumstein line on ace-queen.
Eagle folds, heads up to the turn. Pham catches top pair and has Sinclair drawing dead to a fire alarm, but maybe not even that here at the Rio. Pham checks.
Sinclair, no pair, no draw.
$1.3 million, though, in the middle.
The thing about Sinclair, he's the kind of player who makes you think you'll never win a pot against him without the nuts.
Pham just with the call again.
Ignore the 0% next to Sinclair's name. He will be ignoring it as he bets the river.
3 pair now for Pham.
Well, Pham's played this well. Let the guy who likes to bluff, but now he's not going to wait for one more bluff.
No, he does not. $3.5 million.
Well, that will be that.
And if you don't get caught bluffing, you're not doing it enough. Sheepish look from Jack Sinclair.
How can we not love this guy? He's got moxie.
Welcome to the streets.
Welcome to the streets.
Pham actually busted his bankroll just before the main event. He won a seat in a $575 satellite. Otherwise, he is not here.
Pham increasing his chip lead thanks to Jack Sinclair and his zealous poker nature. A look at the top 10. Pham up top, Pedro Oliveira in second, Ben Lamb still in third.
My ace-queen Morristown guy is in sixth, and my bluffing guy is in eighth. This is setting up nicely.
Pham very comfortable with his lofty status this late in the main event, it seems.
He won his bracelet in no-limit deuce-to-7 low-ball draw when he accidentally registered for the event. He had never played it before. What can he possibly learn from Young Fan?
Survive one more knockout, earn a seat to day 7, and a raise of close to $50,000 US. First prize this year, $8.15 million. Dan Ott has the action. Under the gun +2 with pocket queens. A raise to 450. Blinds right now, 100, 200,000 still with a 30K ante. Then Lamb folds a small blind. John Hesp in the big with Jack-5 offsuit. And he wants to play for the discounted price. He does call for 250 more.
Even Hesp is caught to defend the big blind bug. Didn't realize that it made its way to the Bridlington metropolitan area.
All hearts, bottom pair for Hesp. Queen's still good, and the flush draw for Ott.
Sometimes when you check your cards again, Jack-5 turns into jacks, and it's still a loser.
He does check.
Good flop for Ott.
Ott does check back, and there is a heart, so Ott turns the queen high flush, and it gets checked to him again.
Ott says all his bluffs have been getting through. Of course, he doesn't have to bluff this one.
Ott reaching. What is that? 250, a small, unignorable wager, I guess.
Hesp seeming a bit more weathered here on day 6. Fewer chips, fewer hands. Hope he doesn't try to Jack Sinclair this baby.
250. I call.
Call.
Just a call with a pair of 5s.
Actually, maybe Hesp suspects Ott is bluffing here.
6 of diamonds on the river does not help John Hesp. He'll check it again.
John will check.
Dylan on his feet, awaiting this river decision. His twin brother looks more like his brother now when he covers up the beard, actually. And now it gets serious, $1.5 million.
Hesp frustrated of late, and when you're frustrated, sometimes you try to make wine out of water, and wine never tastes good when it's made out of water.
Is it hero call time again for John Hesp?
Yeah, Hesp wondering if 4th pair is good here. He's hero called before and been right.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Good decision. Yeah, he made some tough calls earlier with similar hands.
I'll have to watch that later.
You'll enjoy it. The commentary was excellent.
John, very wary of being pushed around by pros on the river, as most amateurs are, but made the correct fold there. Ott approaching 16 million. He's had a dream run at his first main event. Off to the lone table, not under the bright lights. Czech pro Michael Sklenichka, another main event first-timer, has the best hand here with kings up. But Valentin Messina just used his big stack bully card to raise it to 3.8 million.
Nines. How about Squadouche on a stick?
So many better hands to call with. Guess I'm folding less.
Gives it up.
Well, the French pro liked the feel of that bluff.
Displays his tomfoolery and will have nearly 29 million. Well, you're going to fold the best hand from time to time. Sklenichka opting for the safe route with a pay bump so close. We've said it before, we'll say it again. The main event is not for the faint of heart. You can't make the nuts every hand, so you have to do something else to acquire chips. The players who have made it this far know that all too well.
And those players know it's still a young man's game. 22 of the 28 remaining in their 20s or 30s.
So the bottom 3 stacks, Baisley.
Solid pro.
Sklenichka.
Imposter.
Lusk.
Legend.
One more knockout. The players will knock off for the night. Rest up for the re-engagement on critical day 7. Michael Ruane with a decision after Lamb raised with ace-10. Michael with a re-raise to $1,375,000.
Wow. Ruane bullying Ben Lamb again. He's a player.
Well, Hesp folded, so I guess Michael feels he can spread his wings a bit more. Any other takers? Back around to Lamb now.
You have 87 behind, is that right?
You figure it out. This isn't 2011. When I get 3-bet in this spot, my ace-10 offsuit has already been shuffled into the next deal.
Lamb with a big stack here of 28 million. Ruane with about 10.5 million. We are on a bubble, a day 7 bubble, a pay jump bubble, and it can affect play. And there's a 4-bet to almost $3 million from Lamb.
Oh, that took all the bull out of Ruane's bully.
Michael has been caught, and it's a lousy feeling. Ben, but now putting his $30 million chip stack back together again.
Thanks, Chance.
He occasionally knows what he is doing.
All right, next door, all in and call.
I didn't stick out on this tournament though. One time. I didn't stick out one time, so no time. I will ask my one time.
Big stack Pedro Oliveira using his one time with his ace-king to try to overcome Brian Pacholi's aces.
I'll stick this. I might flop straight, actually. I'm confident on this one.
Oliveira asking for his one time, but it's Pacholi who's all in.
Pacholi, all in pre-flop, has the aces. Oh, a pair of kings for Oliveira, keeps Pacholi interested.
Pacholi, 28-year-old San Diego pro, was chip leader going into day 5 last year.
Turn card now, aces are still good.
Only a river king sends Brian Pacholi home.
The river card. A 5, no problem, double up, Brian Pacholi. Oliveira still plenty healthy after paying the piper.
Yeah, Oliveira acting as if this is the first time he's ever seen ace-king against aces. This is Pacholi's 3rd straight main event cash.
Life. I'm not gonna make it easy on you.
Man, you still have 20 million. Huh? You still have me covered. It's okay. You can afford it.
Poker.
All right, back to the center ring. The blinds are up. 120,000, 240, 40K ante. Blind on blind action. Lamb and Hesp together again.
This is Lamb's 4th main event cash in 11 years.
Yeah, that's just a flat call, isn't it?
I haven't done anything yet.
You haven't? Oh, I'm trying to work out what. No.
I'm still thinking.
It's all right, it's me behind.
Ben is deliberate, but not slow.
Queen 10 off. Lamb has pretty much been owned by John Hesp to this point. Here's a raise to 650 and a call from Hesp with the king 7 of clubs.
I wonder if Hesp is going to fly Ben into East Yorkshire for some heads up after this is all over.
4-9-9, both miss.
Ben Lamb, probably with the highest percentage of continuation bets since Carl Icahn.
This one is worth 725.
Raise it.
Oh, wow.
Make it 15. 1.5.
The Empire strikes back. Bluffing with the best hand from the shores of Bridlington. I think Hesp is proving to be a tougher opponent than Lamb thought. But I think Ben smells something fishy here.
The smile gone from Ben's lips as he folds.
There's him, John.
You want to see?
Sure. Thought it might be something like that.
Yeah. Well, I figured you probably had something a little bit worse. Find out later. Yes, I think you're getting to be a bit of a bully there.
All right, let's go to our secondary featured table. In the black, Mike Krashenko on the right. 3-bet all-in with queens. Asking for a count is Robin Higala, the original raiser with ace-queen of hearts, and 3 times the stack of Krashenko.
Krashenko shoved with 23 bigs. This would be for more than 1/3 of Higala's stack.
And he makes the call.
Queens, ace queen.
Krashenko, 33-year-old Pittsburgh pro. Got into poker when he was 5 or 6, playing with potato chips and pretzels. I did the same thing, but I ended up eating all my chips.
So Krashenko at risk. Here's the flop. No ace there for Higala. No hearts there for Higala.
All good for Krashenko. Higala, a one-time chip leader on a down escalator.
Turn card. Pairs the board. Queens up. Doesn't change what he needs to dodge on the river.
Higala looking for an ace and an ace only to knock out Mike Krashenko.
The river card. An 8. And Krashenko with a game-saving double up.
Let's go. No, we could have gone. Now we have to stay.
Yeah, everyone would welcome the break with a player being knocked out, but Krashenko's going to hang around.
How much is it?
Kegel is still with a healthy stack. Krashenko now with almost 12 million. Robin finished 124th in the main event last year.
T-shirt and a scarf.
I know you got a mustache.
You know I got a good
I know. Yeah.
Mike Krashenko scores the most critical double up of his poker career. We're still at 28. The night is not done yet. Welcome back to the main event. Lon McCarran here with Norman Chad, Kara Scott, and Joe Stapleton. 28 players left. We're playing down to 27 tonight. Then we race to the final table. First-timer Scott Blumstein getting closer to 20 million in chips. Not a bad debut for the Morristown, New Jersey native.
Today I was down to 1.9 million. I found nines a couple hands later and doubled to 4 million and grinded it back up to about 6.5, and then a couple big hands had me at 11. And then the one big hand right before dinner had me at 17 million, so here we are. It's unreal, I don't even know what's going on. I have 110 big blinds, and that's all that matters right now is just my stack, and I'm just trying to limit myself to just keep a level head, keep a solid ground, and just playing poker.
Been a whole roller coaster ride for the whole week. I'm up and down, I had 10 million chips, I've been right down, almost busted out. I had a bad run on that last half hour, as you know, but perhaps with the fingers crossed, and if the poker gods are with me, I can, hang in there a bit longer.
It's been swingy. I think I was chip leader at the beginning of the day, and now I'm kind of sinking down. Lost a few big pots. I'm still feeling good. I mean, I'm not chip leader anymore, but I'm feeling good. Just here to try to win some money and do as best I can.
Scott Blumstein, online grinder, basically taught himself the game through videos and forum threads. I asked him if he wanted to be the kid brother I never had, and he said he'd get back to me.
Time to set your priorities straight. What are you in it for? What are you content with? Well, then push the fatigue and baggage aside and play poker. Ben Lamb onto the gun here at our featured table, ace-4 offsuit. A raise to 540,000, and John Hesp with queens.
Raise. 1.1 million.
Hesp again trying to silence Ben Lamb. What an unlikely and delightful matchup these two keep providing us.
Antoine Saout has had little to play with lately, trying to make a return trip to the main event final table. Dan Ott with ace-10 offsuit. And he gives it up. Nobody wants to tangle with these guys. Back to Lamb.
You've got a weak ace, you bum. How does he win in the big cash games?
Can you break down your red chips, please?
I beg your pardon?
Can you just count your red chips?
The red ones.
Yeah, just count them for me.
2.
Tell him to count them.
6, 8, 10.
Ben has just taken John's temperature here. He can see the red chips.
6.5 million left.
Okay, now ask Ben to count his red chips.
That would take a lot longer. Ooh, there's a re-raise coming.
I'm all in.
Wow.
Long time.
Ben doesn't even need to see Hesp's cards this time. He's got a good idea.
Ben tiring of the John Hesp show.
Good hand. Again.
You'll get to see it later.
Doesn't really matter what it was.
John climbs over the 15 million chip mark. Lamb still over 26 million, but I guarantee you he's not feeling like a winner right now.
Ben's got an upcoming marriage to worry about. John Hesp is small potatoes.
As a reminder, for unlimited access to more of the best in live poker all year long, get in the game with PokerGO. Back to our featured table, Dan Ott open for 550,000 with ace tray of clubs. Coming around to Hesp now in the small blind. Lamb folded. John with queen 9 offsuit.
Raise.
He and Ott.
1.2 million.
With similar chip stacks, around 14 million. There's the re-raise from Hesp.
The old man getting feisty with squad douche, showing no respect for Ott's early position raise.
Ott will defend that early position raise. Calls for 650 more.
The 64-year-old rookie raising and re-raising at will.
All right. 9-4 Trey. Hesp does it again, out flopping Ott this time.
I don't know if it's the shirt or the jacket, but John Hesp has some main event mojo going.
With top pair and a continuation bet of $1.5 million. Bottom pair for Ott. And he comes along. That card is no threat to John Hesp.
2 million.
Maybe it's the hat. That is one fine-looking chapeau. Ott still thinks bottom pair might be good.
Those are calling chips. And with every street, John Hesp is climbing up the leaderboard. The river card. Hesp improves now. Queen's up.
Maybe it's just good karma for being one of the greatest sights this main event will ever see.
2 million.
Wow, tiny bet into that pot. How can Ott resist?
Ott hanging on with bottom pair. People might be catching on to Hesp's play. He could have here like ace-king or maybe a missed heart draw.
2 pairs.
Or 2 pair.
That's good.
Queens and nines.
Here comes John Hesp again.
He takes that pot to add 7 million new chips to his growing arsenal.
Did I river it?
Yeah.
Ah, right.
These are good. I had a pair that wasn't as good as a 9.
Ooh, thank you.
He'll count almost 22 million.
Who can't root for this fella?
The John Hesp train just keeps on chugging. He has a top 10 stack. Can you believe? Welcome back to Las Vegas. Just one elimination before we get down to 3 tables to our secondary feature table. Jack Sinclair has the action. Ace tray of hearts on the button. A raise to 575. Around 2, Ryan Horton, Jack 8 of hearts in the big blind.
32-year-old scheduling supervisor for an automotive parts company from Rainsville, Alabama. Jack Sinclair looks like he's never seen a scheduling supervisor for an automotive parts company from Rainsville, Alabama.
Horton a short stack at the table. There are shorter stacks elsewhere. Horton with a gut shot and a jack-high flush draw that's no good, as Sinclair has the ace-high flush draw.
Well, flush draw, straight draw, checkered pink shirt, all the makings of a shove.
7.8 million was his starting stack before the hand. Sinclair had over 19 million. 900,000 from Horton.
Sinclair still seems uneasy, perhaps not used to having a legit hand.
He called. Turn card now. Ooh, that's legit and bad news for Horton. He turns an inferior flush to Sinclair's.
Yeah, now the makings of a disaster for Ryan Horton.
He says all in. I got it. I call. Horton with a slim chance to double up here.
Yeah, these are spots you have to avoid, and sometimes they're not avoidable. Set over set, flush over flush.
Straight flush draw?
Yes.
Fam talking with first-hand knowledge about straight flush possibilities.
What a sick spot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's something about the straight flush in the main.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
They want it for the TV.
No TV on this hand, only radio, Jack.
2 outs, baby.
Horton doesn't feel like one of those 2 outs is going to come. He's got to make a straight flush to survive.
The river is a 5, but the spade, and Jack Sinclair does win it flush over flush, sending Ryan Horton to the sidelines. And that makes him our 28th place finisher of the 2017 main event. Great run for Horton. Sinclair had quite a day 6. He scores the knockout that puts him and the other 26 into day 7.
Increased his stack 12x on day 6. He's my guy.
I literally, when he jammed, I was like, man, he's got a straight flush. That was the first thing that went through my head. I was like, this guy.
Bag and tag time. Lamb, I think, got chips from everyone except John Hesp.
Ben better not lose those chips. He's going to need them on the honeymoon.
Good news for Ben. He may not be paired up with Hesp on day 7.
Now, I'm sorry y'all are seeing this. This is the dirty part of poker we never see, bagging and tagging chips. Ugh.
So day 6 is in the books, and Jack Sinclair making a big move. He's got $27 million into 3rd place.
Lamb and Hesp survive each other for top 10 stacks, but Jack Sinclair, main event champion, it just sounds right.
2 former November Niners sitting at 15th and 16th in Saout and Ruane.
Michael Ruane just 2 tables away from back-to-back history.
Dan Ott started day 6 with so much promise, fell off as the day wound down.
Marcel Luce, the second short stack. Please hold on to the final table, please.
Started barely above average with 4.7 and got off to a pretty good start. I got about 7.5 and then just kind of ran it up from there. I won a lot of hands and then I bluffed off a little to my friend John, who's still my favorite person in the world, despite him just wrecking me all day. I'm really excited to be here and I think the pass will help me. But a lot of these guys have been deep multiple times as well. I don't care about the final table. I want to win. I started to cuss.
On the way to 27, some seize the moment.
Let's go! Let's go!
Yes, John.
You want to see?
Sure. Thought it might be something like that.
John Hesp continued to ride his storybook run to the final table. 18 players stand in his way.
Yes, yes, yes.
Day 7 is upon us.
1 time?
3 tables down to 1 for all the money. For Norman, Chad Carrascotta, and Joe Stapleton, I'm Lon McCarran. Good night from the World Series of Poker.
Life.